Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little while, hasn't it? Realistically, it's been about a week, I think, since I last streamed, but this week has been so goddamn busy that I finally got a bit of time to actually stream. So we are back with it won't be the finale today. The finale will be this week of the Hartlepool United career mode, but today we will be reminiscing. We won't be doing any gameplay, we won't be doing any matches, anything like that. We will just be looking back on the save, looking back on the players that we've had throughout the save. Try to remember any of them because some of them I've genuinely forgotten when I was looking back through the archives, and some of them who will obviously go down as Hartlepool legends. Um, so that's what we're going to be doing for this episode. If you want in the gameplay, I will do the Champions League final, I think, on Thursday. So if you want to come back for that, understand. If you want to take a trip down memory lane here and take a look back at what we've created and the players we've created, the players that have made it, the players that haven't, the players that somewhat went off not off the rails, I guess, but off the road a little bit, didn't hit what we thought they could hit, and then of course some of the players, quite a few of the players who have either hit their potential or gone beyond it. So first and foremost, I've got them written down in alphabetical order of first name. So I will be doing that. There is 141 players, I believe the count was, which is an absolute mad amount. I think actually it's 140 because I've got one person down twice because they make a return. I think you can guess who that is. So 140 players total to go through here. So we'll be here for a few hours minimum, just reminiscing, just looking back. And I had them all on the shortlist, but in the interest of cleaning everything up, we're going to leave the shortlist empty and we're just going to search them one by one to show you, I guess, who we had, who we haven't had, and, well, not really who we haven't had, it's who we have had, really, and kind of where they've gone. What's up, Quagliarella? Yeah, this pretty much is I mean, it's a stream. I usually stream these episodes anyway, but they all go up on YouTube anyway. So it's kind of a stream YouTube kind of thing. So it's a mix, really. I do usually stream these career mode episodes, but they all go up on the channel, and I can give you a link to the channel if you need as well. So the first one, he's not really a youth academy player, and realistically probably shouldn't be involved because it's meant to be a youth academy save. But the first person, we'll give an honourable mention to if he's still in the game. You might remember him from season 1 if you're a long time viewer of this career mode, and if you don't remember him, then let me reintroduce you to Jakub Stolarczyk. Jakub Stolarczyk is the first man that we're going to be reviewing here. In season 1, when we started, we didn't actually get a keeper for so long, and we didn't actually have a keeper at the club because I sold them, not realising we didn't have a keeper. So up stepped this man, Jakub Stolarczyk. At that point, I think he was 21, 22 years of age. He's now 30 on the free agents. But what a very good player he was in the limited time we had him. Eventually, we did get a keeper for the youth academy, and unfortunately, we had to send Stolarczyk back to his parent club, which at the time was Leicester. But he is now a free agent, unfortunately. Couldn't find the permanent club. But he is a big part of this, even though he's not a youth academy player. Am I now in the video, or are you going to edit me out? I don't have the Twitch chat to come up on the screen, so I will obviously mention you, but you won't be able to see the actual chat messages, if that makes sense. I'm streaming directly off of Xbox, so it doesn't really show the chat, unfortunately. Oh, that would be cool at one point. So the first name on the list is the newest name on the list to this club. No surprise here. Aaron Partridge, the first man to make it into the review here. Basically, brand new. There's nothing really to reminisce much about this guy. He's just come in as an option while Carlos Rodriguez was injured. He came as an option. The Harry Kane region looks very good. And he hasn't been, maybe not setting the world alight for us entirely, but he does look very good. Exciting prospect. Down the line, he'll probably fulfill his potential. But if this Champions League final is the last episode, unfortunately, we'll never see it come to fruition. But these are the stats he's got. He's quite fast, agile, balance is good. When I've used him, I feel like I've had a bit of a problem with his finishing, but he's not been absolutely awful. And really, he was only in for a short period of time until the main man came back anyway, who we will come back to in a little while down the line. So Aaron Partridge, the first man. Again, not really much to reminisce there because he hasn't been around very long. Up next, then, a man who, well, he's going to be a legend. He has to be a legend, and he's right there at the top. As soon as you type in the A button, it is Achille Blanchard. We signed him I will get it up on my. I've written it all down. I will find it here. We signed him at the start of season 4, way back in 2025, and we signed him. And I remember officially signing him because he was worth about 4 million, but the team that we signed him from would not let us get him unless we paid his release clause, which was around 10 million at that point. And when I think we were Championship, maybe League One at that point. I think we'd just gone up to League One. Um, they didn't want to, let me pay any less than his release clause. So the 10 million release clause, and I said, okay, I'll pay this because it'll work in the future. It'll work out for us in the future. Now, if you look at this man, he scored hundreds of goals for us, a very key part of this team heading into the Champions League final. A valuation of 167.5 million. So paying 10 million has definitely, absolutely worked out for us in the long term. If we were to sell him, we'd make one hell of a profit, but there's absolutely no chance this man is leaving this club. I believe as well, and I won't do this for every time, but I believe this season especially, he has the joint most or the most contributions. If the game doesn't glitch out, that'd be wonderful. He has the most contributions by one. It's close between him and Carpenter, who we'll come to later, but he is the most contributed player this season. 60 contributions in just 49 games. 50 of those coming in the Premier League. He is an absolute animal. I think when we signed him, I've got it written down here, his initial overall when we signed him, if you just excuse me, we'll go back onto his thing here. When we signed him, he was 72 overall. 21 overall later, we have got a striker fit for the Champions League final, and whether he starts or whether he doesn't start, he'll definitely be a part of it. But it's going to be a selection headache trying to get a striker. Which striker I'm going to use for that? Which two strikers, I should say, out of the three that'll probably be involved. Well, I've not seen a career mode like this. I usually just play one season. Yeah, I usually don't do these long career modes, or I'll do them not on stream, but this one was one that was really fun to go through with the whole way. So I just decided we'll go the whole way with it, and if it's a success, then good. If it's not, then it's not the end of the world, but it's looking like it's going to be good. What elite specimen is that player? I have no idea. I don't know what made it to make him, but fair enough. He's a great player, so we don't need to worry about the looks too much. So next on the list is a man who's not really got too much lore either, Aidan Morgan. He was a player, and he's still actually with us technically. He's on loan at Villarreal. He's a player that came through the youth academy in season. Christ almighty, there's too many pages here. I need to be more organised with this. Season, where is it? Season 7 he came in through the academy, which would have been 2 years ago. He does look like a good young striker, but with the strikers we have right now, we're at the end game, so unfortunately he doesn't fit into the team. But he did come through the youth academy. His overall, when he came through the youth academy, it was 53, with a potential of 76 to 94. And as his current rating is 69, he's well on his way to making his potential. I think he still has a potential tag. I can't check it because he's out on loan, but when we loaned him out, I think he was showing great potential, which means he'll be like 80 minimum. So he will still hit that potential bracket, but he's still a very good young player, and I would really hope that he will succeed. Well, I guess obviously with the ones that are coming through now, we'll never know because it could be the end of the career mode next episode because we've gone so far with this and it's been nearly about 10 months doing this career mode, so it's been a long-term project. But Aidan Morgan, he was quite good in the limited appearances we had with him, and hopefully he's kicking on for Villarreal and hopefully he can kick on in the future. Up next, I still have to flick back and forth between each page. I should have made this more organised. Oh, well, I mean, here's a story of a man who he made it big but wanted to come home. Aidan Sutherland. I don't think out of all the players in this career mode, I like a player. I think there's been a better connection to a player more than this man, Aidan Sutherland. Came through our youth academy all the way back in season 1, the very first season. And if I can get his stats up here, he was a 63 rated. I think he was actually a right back at the time when we moved him to left back. His potential was 72 to 94, and he was. He looked good from the off. He looked good from the very beginning. It was my point. So we called him up immediately. But then when we were in League 2, he was too high overall. He was like 76, 77 overall at that point, and we were still in League 2. And I wanted to keep it semi-realistic, so we moved him away, and I believe he went straight to Royal Antwerp. I don't think there was another club in between that. He went to Royal Antwerp, and kicked on in the Belgian league. And obviously, he has become a world class player because the plan was always to do this anyway. I think I made it quite clear from the outset, but the plan was always to reunite with this man when we got European football. And at the start of season 8, or not European football, sorry, I think we did we get European football? I don't remember. We were close to it, but I think the story was there anyway to just bring him back anyway. Aidan Sutherland making a trip back to Hartlepool at the start of season 8. I think it was 88 rated or 87 rated at the time. Now 91, one of the best left backs in the world, the best left back I've ever used in the career mode, truth be told. He is so fun to use. He can run down that line, create anything. He's got brilliant abilities as well. Look at his ratings here: 96 acceleration, 94 sprint speed. And even though he's only 5.9, he's got good 5.9, 5'9". He's got a good jumping, good strength, reactions as well. 99 stamina, so he never gets tired. Aggression 82, interceptions 95. The vision and composure could be a bit better, but defensive stats are all over the joint in terms of brilliance. Defensive awareness 94. Ball control as well, 92. His dribbling might not be up there completely, but he does have a good control of the ball. Good passing as well. Standing tackle, 91. Heading accuracy is 97. And even for a left back, his crossing is 78. He's one of the most complete left backs in the game right now, and he's going to be one of the club legends, obviously. I'm really inexperienced at career mode, but just try my best. I played it 2 years now. Last year I played with Southampton Aiming to stay up, which I did now. I'm doing the same with Luton. I play on Ultimate. Yeah, I'm the opposite because I've played a lot of career mode, but I would never dare to go on Ultimate. It's just it's way too high for me. I play on World Class, but I have the sliders in favor of the computer, so it makes it a bit more challenging because Legendary just isn't fun for me. And I feel like world class is probably the right level. Just need a bit more challenge, but not as much of a challenge as what legendary is. So up next, then the Spaniard that we brought in just last season as well, season 8, Aitor Miranda arrived. We needed to bolster that right back position, have a run at the Champions League, which we have done. And Aitor Miranda has been a big part of that. A left-footed right back. It's a bit of an interesting one, but he has done one hell of a job there. And he has improved upon improved upon improved. If I take a look here at his overall, 83 was his overall when he joined, and he wasn't really meant to grow anymore. But he's gone against that and decided that I'm just going to get better and better, and fair play, he has done. 86 rated now at just 22 years of age. Athleticism's good, defending's good. He's not quite Sutherland, of course, but he is still a very strong player. 95 acceleration, 89 sprint speed, 85 agility, 78 balance, 80 jumping, 91 stamina, 83 strength, 78 reactions. Those physicals are immense. Aggression and interceptions could be a bit better. The composure and everything else is quite good. And you could probably push him up a bit further to a right wing back potentially with some of these stats. 82 ball control, 78 dribbling. The awareness defensively, the tackling stats are good. The passing is good as well. And the crossing for a right back at an 80, you could probably push it up. Probably push him up to a wing back or even a right mid because he's just that good. But he's pretty new as well, although he will be getting a starting spot for that Champions League final against Bayer Leverkusen without a shadow of a doubt. And now we go from one of the most memorable players to probably one of the most forgotten players, and I wouldn't be surprised if you had forgotten about him. Back in season 1, I believe, we got him for the Youth Academy. At this point, we were just promoting anybody and everybody to the team because we just needed Youth Academy players to pad out the team. I sold all the senior players, of course, so we needed to replace them. And Alan Humphreys was basically one of those. I never expected him to be good. The game never expected him to be world class anyway, which is kind of showing his potential. He's not been bad. He's not been bad at all. We signed him in the academy at 53 rated. His potential is 53 to 73, and he's made it to 62, which again isn't great. Obviously, it isn't bad. He didn't really do too much for us in terms of contributions, I don't think, but he definitely played for us in that first season. I remember that because we needed bodies in. We just needed youth academy players, and we needed strikers, I think, at that point as well. So take a look at the stats. They're not fantastic, and you can kind of see why he didn't make it ultimately. He's not awful for voluntary. I think he's probably the right level for him, but he was never going to make it. There's quite a lot of players who are never going to make it, unfortunately. But Alan Humphreys, season 1, looking now, he didn't make it, unfortunately, and that's just the way it goes for some of these players. as I go back to the fucking list that never ends of players here. Too many pages. I probably should have split these a bit better, but that's all right. Up next is an interesting one. Fair enough. I'm not a bad online player, so the difficulty I play it feels like a regular Fit Champs game. Sometimes like playing a pro player. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't really do online too much, if at all, really. I'm more just a career mode player. Kind of just stick on this, so I can kind of understand if it's easier to put a difficulty up when you're playing online more, but I barely play online, so the difficulty's further down for me. So the next man, Albie Holmes, a fucking incredible name, and at one point, he looked like an incredible player. I believe at one point the game kind of hyped him up to be, the next big thing. You know how sometimes they have the news headlines where they kind of hype a player up and he's going to be like a future star or something, potential star or something in the game. It didn't quite work out like that. He's a fun player to use the amount we used him, but he was never going to make it to the top level. And as you've seen here, 25 years of age, 70 overall. It's not bad, but it's not Hartlepool level now. The speed is quite good. Agility jumping as well, quite good. Stamina and strength. They're not bad all-round stats for a man who's 70 rated, to be honest, at 25 years of age. But as a winger, you'd expect more in the crossing, perhaps. You'd expect more in the free kicks and passing as well. It's kind of not gone brilliantly. But at one point, this man was a future star. And you can see why when you look at the stats. 53 overall when we brought him in through the academy. 67 to 91 potential for Albie Holmes. He's got in that bracket, but he's at the very lower end of it, unfortunately. Playing at FC Andorra now as well. Up next on the list that never ends. I need to try and keep this open so I don't lose it. I'm going to get a bookmark actually so I don't lose it. So I can just flick back to it without having to flick through the whole fucking thing. Right, up next, another player who you might have forgotten if you've not watched this for a while, or even if you have watched this for a while, you might have forgotten him anyway. I sure as hell did. It's Alex Jones, who came through our academy. Was never really going to make it. He was another one that just padded the squad out at the start. That was just going to be a squad player until we got the better players in. And as you can see here, there's a good reason why he only ever got to 59 overall. We sold him to Rochdale, and that's where he stayed for the remainder of his career so far. Still only 25, so still time, but I don't see any magic coming out of Alex Jones here. The speed stats are quite good, but if you're like a cam, you want a bit more in your passing, a bit more in everywhere, really. It's not an awful... He's a decent player for League 2, I guess, but he was never going to make it from the start. We knew that, and he's proven us right. Was a Season 1 player as well, did come in on the first season's scout report. 48 overall when he came in, 58 to 78 potential. 59 overall is where he landed, so just inside that potential bracket. I should mention as well, these potential brackets are as soon as they come into the academy. So if they haven't worked out, that is because, this was like when I signed them. On the day I signed them, I wrote down their potentials, wrote down their overalls. So if it hasn't worked out, sometimes the potentials will go down. I haven't recorded that. I've just recorded the potential that they had when we signed them, if that makes sense. So you could have 77 to 73 or 73 to 77 potential now or something like that. And I haven't written that down because it's whatever it was at the start, if that makes sense. So up next then, a Swedish man who is still at the club, so kind of brand new. And I'm going to be honest, I did want to sell him, but we haven't been able to find a buyer for him. And he is good. It's just the problem is that we've got way too many wingers, as it has been the whole career mode. We've been a winger factory in that academy. Anton Johnson coming through, as you can see, transfer listed. It's nothing against him, it's just that we've got way too many wingers, to be honest with you. He does have a good potential. If I can find where I wrote him down. This could take a while, Christ almighty. There's a lot of names in front of me, and it's hard to just find one to pick out. So, Anton Johnson is... I ripped the page there a little bit. That's the underworld. We brought him in Season 6, and he started off as a stinker, and I think it's because we position changed him. I can't remember where we position changed him from. If I go into the squad, actually, it should say it, shouldn't it? But he came in at a 40 overall, potential of 64 to 90. Still has the ability to hit... Yeah, we converted him from a centre mid. Still has the ability to hit that potential. But it's a long way up for him, and I'm pretty sure he'll hit it. but I just don't know how he'll hit it because he won't be able to hit it here. We're trying to get him on the way out. He's not a bad player, don't get me wrong. It's just he's not good enough for us in a nicest possible way. 81 sprint speed, 69 acceleration, yellow stats and around for his physical, so not bad. Dribbling 71, finishing 71. Could be moved up to a striker, but at 5'9", I didn't make that move. And maybe I could have done. Maybe I should have done. Maybe I will do. Hold on. Oh, I can't do because he's on loan. Oh no, he's not on loan, is he? Brian. Would he be better as a striker? Possibly. I mean, he's not going to get much better than what he is just now. I'm willing to give it a test. I mean, we probably won't see the results. Might see the results if I do like an end of season, like everything. But we'll just, it's a bit late, but better late than never, I suppose. At least we picked it up. Fair play, taking a lot of notes as you go. Yeah, it took a lot of time. It's taken a lot of time to do this, but I'm glad I did. Yeah, we're gonna get there. It's gonna be a few hours this takes, but I hope it's enjoyable, and I hope it's a good trip down memory lane for long-term viewers. And of course, if you haven't watched it before, you can always go watch it, and you can see all these players in action. Would you care enough to know who I've signed on my save for the first season? Yeah, tell me. Go ahead. I'd be happy to know. Happy to take a look. Axel Bernard is the next on the list, and I feel a bit bad for him because it's nothing that he did that he was actually so bad, because he wasn't bad at all. It was just we had an influx of strikers at that point as well, and the focus was around one man who we'll come to later on. But he wasn't bad at all. When we needed him, he scored. I don't remember how many he scored. I should have maybe. I didn't really want to go too in depth and take a look at every single goal that everybody has scored because that would take a lot more time. But Axel Bernard is one of the players I wish we could have maybe done a bit more with. But at the same time, it looks like he's hit his potential at 73, and he is on the free agents at 26 years old. So I can kind of understand how it's gone wrong for him a little bit. But at the same time, he's a good player. He just needs to find the right club. Good speed, good agility, good balance, jumping strength as well at 6'1" isn't awful. Could be a bit higher really, but isn't awful. Heading's decent, finishing's decent. He's a good player to maybe take a punt on for like a Championship League One kind of club, perhaps if someone was to. By no means bad, but it was just at the time we had too many strikers. Unfortunately, Axel Bernard didn't get through. Up next then on the list, Ayanda and Nkosi. Now, I think there was more than one Ayanda and Nkosi, wasn't there? No, there was just the one, and that was the one that we had. He is now at Newell's. I believe he's on loan there. He's still in the club. Fairly new to the club, to be honest with you, because he actually looked like quite a good South African talent. If I find the report here. I should also find Axel Bernard's overall and potential as well. If you give me a second, I'll find that. Axel Bernard, his overall was 56 when he came into the academy, potential 66 to 92. So he's at 73 rated, Axel Bernard, so that's not too bad. He's got into the potential bracket. Now, Ayanda Nkosi, he was either last season or maybe even this season. It was not long ago that we brought this man in. Season 7, so 2 seasons ago. And he actually looks like a pretty good cam. Try to get the best out of him on a loan deal just to see what he can do. 70 rated already, still 18 years of age, still a lot to grow. Looking at his stats here when we brought him in, he had 56 overall with 76 to 94 potential. So he's already busted through quite a lot of that overall towards his potential anyway. And he will get there. 80 acceleration, 81 sprint speed. The agility is fantastic. Some of the other stats maybe need a bit of work, but it's a decent all-round. Good ball control, good dribbling, good finishing. Possibly a chance to push him up to a winger or a striker, perhaps as well. Long shots, curve as well, pretty decent. Good all-round stats, and a player, if we were to continue, it'd be a player for the future. But yes, he's somewhat new to the lineup. I've put every player in here, so we've got to include them all. Another Ayanda this time. It's going to be Ayanda Smith, who you saw in the search there as well. The 24-year-old left winger, I believe. Yep, we sold him to Cardiff. And again, he was another product of we had too many wingers, and the wingers that we had were better than him, unfortunately. But he's by no means a bad player, a very good championship winger. At Cardiff City now, 24 years of age, 82 acceleration, 83 sprint speed, 83 agility. So quite a lot of green stats all around, to be fair. And the ball control, dribbling, crossing, is pretty much what you'd expect from a winger. He's quite a solid player now. And if I was to ever bring back anyone for depth, he'd probably be in the conversation. He doesn't look bad at all. But again, it's just the wingers. We've got so fucking many that it's not an issue. And that kind of meant that we had to just sell him. Unfortunately, I didn't really want to either, but again, just too many players to fill that spot. And he must be doing well at Cardiff because he's been there since we sold him. If I take a look where he was on the list here, God forbid, Ian Smith, his first season. He was season 1. 54 overall was his starter overall when he came into the academy with a potential of 72 to 94. So he's made it into that bracket as well. So he has. I'm counting if they're in that potential bracket. I'm counting them as making it, by the way. And if they haven't, then they've not made it. That's kind of my criteria, if that makes sense. So Ian Smith has made it, and he's doing well in the championship. Up next, then, oh boy, what a man this was, and he didn't come from the academy. What a topsy-turvy history this man had while he was here. Bernd Jacobs, the Dutch goalkeeper. I've never known a player be so bad and so good in the same season. So basically, I think we're in the championship at this point, and Bernd Jacobs, we signed him as a backup goalkeeper. I think one of our other goalkeepers was on international duty, so Jacobs had to come in. He had his debut, and he conceded 8. He conceded 8 goals in his debut, which is an absolute madness. And you think after you've conceded 8, no way, Jose is he getting back ever into the squad, because like if you concede 8, it's not very good. It's not very good if you concede any. But 8 is extortionate, really. I'll get to the story in a minute. Hold on. I signed Hwang Hee-chan, 14 million. Bornau, 7 million. Adley on loan. 4 Mexican free agents. Sugawara, 10.8 million. And Muniz from Fulham on loan. That's actually quite a good transfer window. That's a fantastic transfer window. What is your YouTube? I'll subscribe. I'll put the link in the chat. Should we get a boot out the door conceding 8? Well, that's the funny part, because we kept him out of the team for a long, long time. And then once again, I think the other goalkeeper had to go on international duty. So Jacobs got another shot and goal. And then he ended up being really good towards the end of the season as we went towards the playoffs, I think it was at that point. We had to try and make it to the playoffs before the final day because we'd fallen way behind. The board wanted playoffs, and our main goalkeeper was on international duty for quite a bit of it. Bernd Jacobs came in, and he dropped 5-star fucking classic performances. I think he dropped like 3 clean sheets out of the 5 games we played on the way to the playoff final in the end. Unfortunately, we do lose that playoff final, and that's a story for later on. But Bernd Jacobs, he's a topsy-turvy player. I'll always respect the fact that he was so good when we needed him to be good. But he'll always be remembered to me for his debut. And if you let in 8 on your debut, you've kind of made a bad connection from the start. But he's a streets won't forget because of the contributions he made heading to the playoffs. I think that was season 5. Or season 6 potentially, we were heading to the playoffs. So he came in at a 73 rated. He hasn't grown much. I didn't expect him to. He was kind of at his potential when we brought him in. He was just a backup to the other goalkeeper, who I will mention later on when we get there, of course. But decent goalkeeping stats, to be honest. 74 diving, 78 kicking, 75 positioning, 71 handling, 73 reflexes, 69 reactions. It's not awful, but what a weird and wonderful player he was, honestly, in his save. He went from hero to zero. From zero to hero, the other way around. But now here is an actual hero, and a man who is still here. My favourite centre-back of the lot, Billy fucking Bull. The fucking isn't his middle name, just for reference, but Billy Bull makes it, obviously, to the Champions League final. An absolute baller of a player. He has just been... he's been irreplaceable. He's been second to none. His first season here, he struggled a bit. But we signed him in season 7, I think it was. Season 6 it was. Because I remember actually having him for a season in the Championship. He was dynamite in the Championship. First season in the Premier League, struggled a bit. Struggled to acclimatise to the Premier League. But as we've been going, he has been an absolute fucking masterclass of a defender. A brilliant defender the whole way through. We signed him at 77 overall at the start of season 6. And I think his potential was 82 or 83. He's just kicked the door down and grown beyond that to an 86, which is phenomenal from him. 82 acceleration, 89 sprint speed, 93 jumping, 97 strength, Stamina and reaction is pretty good too. Aggression and interceptions. Oh, and he's 6'2" with 97 strength. Good luck getting past him. The rest of the stats, 92. I mean, the attacking stats don't really matter for a defender, do they? So 92 defensive awareness, 81 slide tackle, 88 stand tackle, and 89 heading accuracy. He is a leviathan. He is a beast in the air, and he is a tank on the ground. Billy Bull, he's going to make it to the Champions League final, and he absolutely deserves it. He's going to be starting alongside, I don't know yet, but he will be starting. Billy Bull, what a man, what a player. Not a lot of history behind him, obviously, because we signed him season 6, but an absolute unit. Up next, then, I can't spell names apparently, but it is going to be. He's not come up yet. For fuck's sake! All right, it is Blake Anderson for reference. There we go. Blake Anderson. He was one of those again. Brought him up because we needed to. We needed youth players at the start, youth academy players at the start, and he was. I mean, the right back, I think, for a little bit before we moved on to. I want to say Moffat because he was in the wrong position and we moved him across, but I can't actually remember. But Blake Anderson, the young English right back, never really was going to make it. He's now at Leganes, which I believe is where we sold him. I should have maybe written all that down as well, but I didn't. He came into the academy with an overall 60 and a potential of 67 to 85. He's hit 66, so he just hasn't quite made it. And also, he's a left-footed right back. I never noticed that at the time when we used him, so that's on me, I suppose. But Blake Anderson, he will be remembered, but at the same time, he is probably not going to be. I mean, he'll be remembered in terms of this video, but he's not going to be remembered in terms of being a club legend. Streets won't forget anything like that. He was kind of just there, which is kind of explains quite a few players in the early stages of this season. Now, a player who wasn't just there, a player who was a character, and a player who I wish I hadn't sold now, actually, looking back. But we needed to upgrade if we wanted to get to that next level, the Champions League. Bobby Hobbs, what a absolute character he was. The Australian magician in midfield. He literally pulled anything out of his ass. When I needed a late goal, you look at this man, you look at Bobby Hobbs, the amount of times he either saved us with an equaliser or even won the game for us. It's not a lot, but the ones where he did it were very important to title races, to playoff races against big teams. He did it on the big stage. He may not have done it like all the time, but he did it on the big stage. And an incredible cam. He's doing well at Lens, 83 rated now. And if I find him on here, I don't remember what season we brought him in. Season all the way back in season 2 was when he came through our academy. I never wrote his overall down when he came in because I never could find it on a video, which is mad. But I'm going to guess it was around high 50s, low 60s. We'll go around that area. And I didn't write down his potential either, but looking around the group at the time, the same group of academy players, I don't know why we never got his details down. But I think it was probably around 70 to 94, 70 to 90, something like that. Either way, he has outlived his potential. Well, not outlived it, but he's made it to his potential. 83 rated now, Bobby Hobbs. Athleticism good, technical shooting, technical ability, shooting good as well. Passing for a cam, you'd expect a bit better. Maybe he deserved to be a winger for us, but at the same time, too many wingers. 89 acceleration, 96 sprint speed, 92 agility. Oh, this boy is definitely a winger. I may have messed up along the line, to be honest with you, but I couldn't really put him on the wing because we had too many wingers. I think I switched him from wing to cam in the first place, if I remember correctly now. But always a baller, Bobby Hobbs. Something crazy happened in my career mode. My first FA Cup match I've been playing, I got drawn against Man City, and yet Luton are playing Man City tonight in the FA Cup on TV. Jesus Christ. I've never had that. I can honestly tell you I've never had that. On the same day that they're playing in real life, I've had it in the game. That is ridiculous. That's actually insane. The chances of that are very low, and I hope you beat them. Like, I hope Luton beat them in real life, because I hate Manchester City. Anyway, up next, a divisive, I guess, figure in this career mode. Definitely a figure who is controversial for how awful he was, but also how funny he was as well. Brandon Steele. Never was going to make it. Again, another one of those that just filled the team. But, oh God, how funny was it to use him back in the day. I say back in the day, it was literally last year. But season 1, it was so funny to use him. It was so fun to use him. he actually had some good moments, but most of the time he was absolutely awful, and it was so funny. But he's somebody we won't forget just because of how awful he was. Came in at a 50 overall when he came in for the academy. 56 to 76 in terms of potential was what the potential was registered as when he came in. He has got between that gap, honestly, and I think most of that was with us. But we then sold him to Sarpsborg, where he's remained for now. Winger stats not incredible. I think the other thing was I didn't really know where to put him because he didn't really have any outstanding qualities. No offense to the lad, but he looked best on the wing. So I think that's where I put him. I think he was a backup winger in the end because we got a lot better wingers coming through. But Brandon Steele, a man that'll never be forgotten just because of how stupid he was and how funny he was. But now a man who will be remembered, the spearhead, the figurehead of this whole rebuild. A man who has been here since the very first scout report and is still here to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your number 9 for Hartlepool, Carlos Rodriguez, one of the world's best, an absolute baller in everything. And if there's one man that can maybe say that he's the face of this career mode more than Aiden Sutherland, it is Carlos Rodriguez. Maybe not the nicest face to have to look at, no offense to the lad there from Peru, the Peruvian prince, but he has been from day one to day fuck knows what day it is, but the last day of his career mode as well. 90 overall now. He could have been a lot better as well heading into this finale. He had potential to be special, still has potential to grow, but with 2 consecutive ACL injuries in 2 consecutive seasons, it slowed down his progress. He could have been 94, 95, I reckon, about now, because that's how good he was. That's how much he was firing on all cylinders. And I honestly expected him to be the highest rated in this club by the end of the series. He's not going to be, but my God, the contributions this man has made. He's been here since day one, hasn't dropped out of the starting 11 at all except for injury, and now at the end of season 9, he's still here, still balling. 93 acceleration, 96 sprint speed, 87 agility, 89 balance. Never really the strongest or the best at heading, to be honest, but his attacking positioning, his finishing, his ability on the ball is second to none. It's just, you got a 6-foot player, you expect him to be a bit better in the air. He is not that. I'll tell you right now, he is not that. He is the most technical 6-foot striker you will see, but he is an absolute legend. He is one of the best. He'll never be forgotten. Our number 9 will start the Champions League final as the captain. Name me a more deserving man. Came in here day one and has made it to the end. He has to captain the side, hopefully, to the Champions League. If it's not, then season 10, here we go, I guess. But if he does captain us to the Champions League final, it'll be a perfect end. Thank you. I beat them 1-0 by save, which was crazy. One of my only wins out of 20. I'm currently 15th. Oh, one of my only 5 wins out of 20. I'm currently 15th. That's not bad for Luton, you know. That's a good start. That's a really good start, the way they are at the moment. Peruvian crack. Well, it looks like the type of guy to like El Craquito. He is, I don't know about that, but he is definitely the best that his career mode has to offer, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And this is taking a lot. I'm 40 minutes in, and I'm barely anywhere through the list. I might split this into 2 parts, perhaps. Or maybe we'll just go through it all, fuck it. Carlos Varela up next, another Carlos. He's nowhere near going to be the best Carlos. I've spelt his name wrong as well because I put a D instead of an R. Carlos, there's a lot of Carloses, so we're going to have to type a bit further to Varela. He was a goalkeeper that we initially brought in to be a backup. He was actually quite good, but then we sold him on because I didn't feel like he was going to reach his potential. But looking back, he's actually not done awful. I mean, he's not the greatest by any means, but he's not done as awful as I expected. I believe he was a season oneer when we scouted, was it Colombia? Yep, he is a season oneer. Came in the academy, 49 overall, 68 to 92 potential. Now at an overall 73, so he's made it into that bracket. A free agent somehow. He's still a very decent goalkeeper for a lower league side, but nobody's picked him up yet. 71 diving, 77 kicking, 69 positioning, 72 handling, 70 reflexes, and 72 reactions. By no means a bad shot stopper. So if you're a lower league club, you're looking for a bargain, maybe worth taking a punt on Carlos Varela. Because I didn't realise he got to 73. So fair play to him on that as well. Up next then, Christian Garrido. Another Colombian I think we got off that report, that same report. And it might be just easier to type Garrido than Christian, so we'll just do that quickly. Christian Garrido. 25 years of age as well. He has a club, and he's lower rated than what Varela is. If I was Damak, I've gone for the wrong Colombian there. I need to sneeze, so bear with me. Christian Garrido came into the academy at 54 overall, 64 to 86 potential, just about gets into his potential bracket. I'm glad we sold him when we did, to be honest, because he hasn't really grown from when we sold him. I think we sold him for around what his valuation was, maybe a little less. No one means a bad goalkeeper either, but never going to make it with us. 63 dive and 69 kick in, 66 positioning, 66 handling, 61 reflexes. There's a lot to work on there still at 25 years of age, 69 reactions. But I can't remember where Damek play. Maybe he's going to be good in that league. I'm not entirely sure. The Saudi league. Christian Garrido went to Saudi before it was young. So up next on the list then is, if I can find it, another Christopher. It's not actually another Christopher because it's the first Christopher, but it's another Chris. And it's a man that I really wanted to actually have to keep. I really wanted to keep, but it didn't work out, and that's the way it be sometimes. Christopher Quigley, still a very decent striker, now in the MLS. We weren't in the MLS at 23. No, in all seriousness, a very good player. Just at that point, we had the strikers that we needed, and he was never going to get a look in that he deserved. He deserved first team football. Gets it at Portland Timbers. Only 23 years of age still. 76 overall. I believe he was season 3 that we signed him in. It was, yep. And coming to the academy, he was 46 overall with a potential of 72 to 94. So he's grown a massive 30 overall. A massive 30 overall to where he is now, 76 overall, 23 years of age. And he's not bad by any means. Quite fast, 85, 87 sprint speed, 85 acceleration, I should say, 82 agility. Strength, again, he's like a Rodriguez type. His strength and that aren't that good for a 6-foot striker. More technical as well. But he's probably a good hitman in the MLS, and I can imagine he's been having a lot of fun there. I think we sold him to Portland as well, so he hasn't moved since we sold him, which is fair enough. And the Irishman, I really wish we'd been able to give more time to, but just couldn't. I don't know how much about youth player. I don't know much about youth players or how to do it. Feels like I get a few players that got maybe 1 rating, but potential dips hard. I've used 2 of them as late subs, which appears to have helped a bit. I guess it's just about giving them minutes. With youth players, especially if you're taking over a Premier League side, it's best to get them on a loan. Like if you can add them to a loan list and find a loan for them, they'll grow quicker on loan because they'll get games at other clubs if they're not going to get games at your clubs. I guess if that makes sense, and they'll grow a bit quicker. But the potentials will always go down. There's nothing you can really do about that. The potentials will always just go down, or they'll just get to a level where it won't change, if that makes sense. Up next on the list, the other Bernard went over with Axel, and now we're going with Clement. He's on the free agents too, and I can understand a bit more with him. He wasn't great for us when we had him, and yeah, free agent for Clement Bernard. Unfortunately, he did have a couple of good goals, I think, but I don't think he was anything like to write home about. 75 acceleration, 71 sprint speed, 81 agility. Probably another winger that I just moved to Cam because we had too many wingers. It looks quite like that, to be honest. Good dribbling, good curve, shit crossing to be fair, so maybe not. Maybe I don't know what happened with Bernard, but he's back on the free agents. He wasn't bad for what we needed at the time, but looking back, not great. I think most of these, we've sold them at the right time. Like when we knew they weren't going to work out, we've sold them and it's worked out for us. Maybe not worked out for the players themselves, which sucks. And as I try to find Clement Bernard's name here, he was a season winner, 60 overall when we brought him in, 59 to 80 potential. So his overall was actually above his potential already. He was never going to be incredible. Another squad filler, I think, at that point. But 67's not bad to say. The potential didn't look fantastic from the outset. So we can't complain too much. And hopefully he will find a club soon. I can only hope. Up next is another one who I won't forget personally. I don't know if it's Streets won't forget, but I won't forget personally. Curtis Flynn. I really wish he'd worked out because upon signing him, he didn't look awful, but it was just the wrong position, I guess, if that makes sense. Because I believe I signed him in as a striker, and he's actually not a striker. He's a centre back, which is the way it goes sometimes. And we did change him, and he actually grew quite well, but the potential never really got any better either. He's at Grimsby, and I think that's where we sold him to all the way back when as well. So not too bad for him because he's probably at the correct level for himself. Sprint speed acceleration ain't awful. Jumping and strength are quite good. Stamina's alright. Aggression's very good. Interception's quite poor. But all these red stats. Because I didn't know where to put him up front, I wanted to put him at the back. And in the end, his potential wasn't really high enough to do anything with him. So he's probably one of the worst we've had. But I think we had a couple of games with him, and he was actually an okay centre back. I can't really complain if they defend a little bit. Now, another Streets won't forget. There's quite a few, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm biased though. Another Streets won't forget. A Welshman this time. And not named Curtis, but it's Curtis Mills. If you've been watching since season 1, you'll know this man. You'll know him like the back of your hand. Curtis Mills, an incredible player, scored so many important goals. So I think he was our captain actually for a while as well before we handed the band over to Rodriguez. I think Curtis Mills was captain before that, alongside Contreras at the time, I believe, if I remember correctly. Was never going to be great, which actually sucked because this was the man I wanted to bring to the end, and I knew he wasn't going to be good, which kind of hurt a little bit. But an incredible player while we had him. 62 overall at the time when we brought him into the academy. Or you brought him through the academy. 58 to 80 potential. He was never going to be the absolute fucking star of the team. He was never going to be the best in the world. And it's shown, unfortunately, because I would love to see him at the end with us. But it was never going to happen. 72 overall now, so he's got well in his potential bracket. I think most of that was done with us before we sold him to Stad at Bristol, where he's remained for the rest of his career. Decent stats all around. I'll maybe try and speed up a little bit, just scroll through the stats rather than explaining them all. But you can see he was a decent player all around for the level he's at. But I knew he was never going to make it here, and unfortunately I was correct, because I would love to see him make it through with us. Now, the next one is just purely because I liked his name. That's really the only reason I signed this man. And you'll see the name and you might agree, you might disagree. But this is a man, I just signed for the name, Darlington Balogun. That is, to me, a really cool name, but ultimately, it didn't translate to a really cool player. He's now in China at Shenzhen, 24 years of age, 58 overall. And we've got the stats here. Quite fast, actually. Strength is good. 5'11" as well, so not bad. Actually, don't think he should be 58. He looks better than Flynn, in my opinion. Obviously not the greatest in the world. Will probably never make it to the greatest in the world. But he's not bad at all. And the Nigerian is now in China. Can't remember if we sold him to China when we sold him, but he is there now. And I really wish he kind of worked out just because of the name, you know. Maybe I'm just biased with that. Darlington Balogun. What season did we sign him in? I think he might have been an earlier one. Yeah, season 2. 54 overall, 58 to 78 potential. He's just about barely got in that potential bracket, but he is in it, and that's all that really matters. So he's only got 4 overall in 9 years. That's my Balogun right there. Well, sorry, 8 years because I signed him in season 2. Up next, then, another. I think he was English. I always forget if he was English or Scottish. This man. I think he was English, wasn't he? Dave Maxwell. No, he was Scottish. You see what I mean? I can't remember. But Dave Maxwell, the Scotsman, we sold him to Poland, and he was a good couple of seasons player. I think this is a man that we replaced Blake Anderson with, actually, now looking back. It wasn't Moffat, it was Maxwell. He is the left back, or the right back now, I should say, with the left foot as well. I've not really looked at the feet much here to judge their positions. For Varta Poznan, decent all-rounder, not too bad. Some of these I'm just trying to flash back and try to remember, but some of them I remember quite well, and this is one I do remember being actual half-decent player, which is better than being completely shit, I suppose. So Dave Maxwell, now in Poland, I'm sure he's doing a good job. The stats actually look quite good as well. And if I find him on the list, his overall was 52, potential of 57 to 79, and he is at a rating of 67. So he's about in the middle of his potential bracket. So he's done pretty well, and hopefully he's balling out in Poland. Up next, then, a man that even I forgot we signed. I'm pretty sure he's somewhat new as well. I actually don't remember when we signed him either. That's the funny thing. But he is here. David Harkin. I'm presuming this is one where I sold because he had like high overall but not good potential. There's a few of those. Um, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember signing him at all, and I don't remember what season we signed him in now. Just as I'm speaking about him, I think it was the same. It must have been the same season as the other Irish players were signed. Quigley and that. It was. But yeah, I don't remember this guy, and he actually hasn't turned out too bad to be fair. Summary, he's not been awful. Quite quick, 5'10", decent strength, decent shooting ability. He's not awful. Degger 4's probably quite lucky to have him. He's at 72 now. When we brought him into the academy, 57 overall with 59 to 81 potential. So he's in the higher end of that potential bracket. So fair play, David Harkin. I don't remember you, but you have done well for yourself since. Are those two videos the entirety of the save of Sassuolo, like from start to when you decide to end it? Or is it but a small portion of an ongoing one? The Sassuolo ones are completed. I won't spoil the ending, but yeah, those are the two. They're both the episodes for Sassuolo. That's them done. I'm doing on 24, or eventually when I get back to it after I finish Hartlepool off, we'll be doing a Man United rebuild. So that will be coming back after I've done this. When I eventually get past the Champions League final. So up next on the list, this is going to take all day. I've realised now. I've maybe not left myself enough time for this, but Domenico Mancini up next on the list of players to look back at, and he is here. He is in the MLS as well. I believe we sold him to the MLS in Charlotte, and he is actually quite a good goalkeeper, to be honest. He was a backup for us for a little while as well, and played occasionally when international duty came up for the other goalkeeper we'll be talking about later. A bit all over the place with his stats, to be honest. 70 reactions. His diving was 72, his kicking was 75, which is pretty good. Reflex is 72 as well, and the handling was alright. Then you look at his positioning, and he might as well have been on the subs bench because he didn't know where he was in the first place. 58 positioning. But honestly, without sounding mean to him, he wasn't actually that bad. He was pretty good for the small time we had him. He's probably another squad filler, just so we had enough players, and he was in Season 1. 54 overall to start with when he came in the academy. 68 to 92 potential, so he's just about made it into that potential bracket. Very, very close, but he has made it into it. 68 overall is Domenico Mancini. Now, we go again with another player that I won't forget, one of my favourites, and a player I've stuck by since the start, since Season 1. And he's been a fucking servant for us. Obviously, when Sutherland came back, he had to go to the backup spot. But what a man he is. Douglas Moffat. Season upon season upon season, I thought, should we sell him? Should we maybe swap him for somebody? No, we stuck by him, and he stuck by us, and he's put in some world-class performances. Even in Season 9 when we've needed him, he's been an absolute fucking brilliant left-back, a solid left-back. The stats obviously don't compare to Sutherland. Quite fast, 95 acceleration, 92 sprint speed. Stamina's good as well. Strength is kind of Interceptions are good, to be honest with you. Ball control's good. They're not actually awful stats completely at all. Awareness, slide tackle, stand tackle are all really good. And I think he's grown way beyond what the potential was expected of him earlier on in this save. If I find his name here, maybe not actually. 52 overall, 69 to 93 potential. And I think for a long enough time he was showing great potential, but I think he maxed out at either 79 or 80. But then dynamic potential has just carried him on to an 84. And I've never known a man more deserving to get involved in the Champions League final. I don't know if he'll start. He'll definitely be on the... I don't think he'll start because Sutherland will start, obviously. But he'll be on the bench. And if it goes to an extra time or penalty shootout or anything, Moffat may get some Champions League minutes. And it's nothing less than this man deserves. Sticking with us from Season 1 all the way to now. Absolute baller, Douglas Moffat. Up next then, Duma and Kosi, another man who was part of the winger curse, I believe. We had too many wingers, sold him. And he's actually come out to be quite good, you know. He's actually not done too bad at all for himself. And I didn't think he would, to be honest. The potential was quite high in this man. It was just, again, winger factory. Had too many wingers. Had to sell some. He was unfortunately on the chopping block. But doesn't look bad at all. 8'3 and 8'5 for acceleration and sprint speed. Good actual physical stats. The mental stats not fantastic, but you don't really need them as a winger too much. And the technical stats are pretty solid, you know. I can't complain about those. Obviously, could be better, but very fantastic growth from him, to be honest. To say, I don't know if he would make it or not. I'm glad he has. I'm glad he has. He's at Utrecht. Probably could get moved to a bigger club if he wanted to. We signed him in season 3 with the overall of 55, potential of 72 to 94, and he's knocked down that door and got into his potential bracket, which I thought he would. But again, it was just too many wingers at the same time, and unfortunately, we couldn't house him. Um, but a brilliant player nonetheless now. And this is a sad story, but it's a great story up until the end. Duncan Wilson. I like if you're a long-term viewer of this career mode, I don't need to say any more than just those two names. That's all I need to say. That's all that needs to be said from this man. What an absolute fucking baller he has been the whole time. I think we got him in season 3. Um, 58 overall when we signed him, 78 to 94 potential. Obviously, he's absolutely smashed it. He's now an 88 rated left winger. And the thing is, and this is a sad fucking fact, he would have been in the Champions League final. He would have been, and there's one reason why he isn't. Bloody Liverpool. They injured him in that match against Liverpool that we played last episode, and he's got a dislocated shoulder. He'll miss the Champions League final, and if there was a man that deserved it as much as the other ones I've already said deserved it, if there was a man I needed to put in a starting 11 straight away, without a shadow of a doubt, Duncan Wilson gets right in there. And I'm so mad that he's got a fucking dislocated shoulder, but we know what he's contributed all the way through, and he'll be there watching in the crowd. Of course he will. Deserves a spotlight on him. 58 overall, like I said, 78 to 94 potential. And on his breakout season, an absolute baller. I think we loaned him out for season 4, and then season 5 he came back, grew really well. I think he was like 73 or something at 18 years of age. Actually quite good. And we put him on that left wing, and he fucking balled out. I believe he was joint top scorer with Rodriguez in that first championship season, if I remember correctly, or around that area anyway. And even this season, we'll give him a little highlight here because he won't play again, unfortunately. This season, he has been balling out. It's not really changed for Duncan Wilson. If I just get the stats up, as you can see, he has been a key part, double figures in both goals and assists, but will miss the Champions League final. That's a crying shame, to be honest with you. 10 goals, 16 assists from this man right here. One of my favourites all the way through. Of course, as well, we had a little bit of doubt whether he was going to make it because of the fact that he had an ACL injury, and I wasn't sure where his fate lay because at the end of the season he was like 82, and there was better wingers out there that I was thinking of going for and just accepting that the Duncan Wilson idea was over. But then the season after, he had potential of 86, I think it was, and then he hit that, and now he's grown beyond that, of course, to now an 88, which it sucks that we can't use him in the Champions League final, but what a man. Club legend of Hartlepool, Duncan Wilson, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Now, here's one of the forgotten brothers of the duo. Unfortunately, I will talk to you about the one that. Well, I mean, if you know, you'll know, but I'll talk to you about the one that made it. Unfortunately, this one didn't quite inherit the same talent as his brother. Dylan Roberts, now at Wisla Plock. I think that's where we sold him to. Unfortunately, wasn't going to make it. And we knew that from early, unfortunately. He and his brother came in the academy at the same time. I don't think they're not official brothers, just for reference. They both have the same last name, so we're just going down that storyline. 75, 74, sprint speed, acceleration, all that. Nothing special, not awful to be honest, but obviously not going to make it for us. 67 overall, bringing him in alongside his brother. He had 37. He was 37 overall, by the way. So 67 overall is not bad at all. 63 to 85 potential, so he's made it inside his potential bracket. I do remember why he was so low rated. It's because he was a CDM when we brought him in for whatever reason. And we position changed him. He flew up about 15 or 16 ratings. So half of that was from position change. The rest is just from sheer growth and hope that he was going to make it. Unfortunately, he didn't make it for us. But he's at Wisla Plock. And fair play to him for continuing his career. And nothing but the best for Dylan Roberts, the forgotten brother. We'll come to the memorable brother quite soon. But up next is a man who is I don't really know what happened with him, to be honest, because he looked really good at the start. Ed Prince, he looked fantastic. Again, he was another victim of the winger thing where we had too many of them. But at the same time, I actually thought he was going to be really good. And then he potentialed at 59, which was like, well, then what was the point? I can't remember what his actual stats were, but I'll have a look here. Ed Prince, 55 overall, 57 to 79 potential. I thought he was going to get maybe high 60s, low 70s even. If I could speak, it'd be great. But he maxed out at 59, which I guess is in his potential bracket, but barely. Like he's only grown 4 overall since the save started. And I thought he was going to be good, and he never was, unfortunately. And it's shown. We sold him to Varberg, and he hasn't grown since. The the speed isn't great off the wing, but the agility, balance are all right. Ball control's all right. Dribbling could be improved. There's a lot that could be improved. But yeah, I thought it was going to be one of those ones that maybe shocked people, and unfortunately didn't. But obviously he will be involved because he was in the Hartlepool squad. Ed Prince. Wish nothing but the best for all his players, of course, just to reference as well. If I talk shit on them, it's because I just didn't feel like they were worthy of Hartlepool. Up next, then, another goalkeeper from Italy, Edoardo Esposito. And looking back, he's actually not done too badly out of us, or we haven't done too badly out of him. Either way, he's done well. I think this was another squad filler at the time. We just needed goalkeepers. I think he was a season 1 or maybe season 2, actually. If I could find his name, it would be magic. He was a season 1 or 52 overall when he came into the academy, 68 to 92 potential, with the rating now being 74. He's grown 20 since he came in, and he's in that potential bracket firmly. An actual decent goalkeeper. 69 diving, maybe could move about a bit more, but the kicking, positioning, handling, and reflexes all in the green, as well as the reactions as well. Dynamo Dresden have got quite a good goalkeeper for the level they're at. I believe they're third league. Or maybe, are they second league in FIFA 23? I don't remember, but a decent goalkeeper for that level anyway. By no means a awful goalkeeper, but was never going to make it for us, and we knew that from early as well. Emmanuel has made it. Got a bit late, but can't help that he got generated later on, but he is a very, very good centre-back, and I can understand his want for more games because he is an absolute baller when he does play. Ike Martin, he is prone to a little mistake here and there, but he is usually very good, very on the ball, and he is one of the top centre-backs at his club, which is going to give me a centre-back selection headache for the Champions League final as well. Athleticism is good, defending is good, all these stats. Quite fast for a 6'2" player, 94 strength, 89 jumping, 87 stamina as well at 6'2". It's nothing to complain about. Defensive awareness, slide tackles, all the defensive stats, very good. Short passing is good as well. A good ball playing centre back. And Ike Martin, I don't think we've had him too long. Actually, signed him in season 8, so he hasn't been here really at all for very long. But he has come in and he's transformed defence. Came in at an 84 overall, now up at an 87. And it's going to be a straight shootout between him and De Oliveira as to who goes alongside Bull, because I just don't know. I just don't know. So there's not really much to talk about Ike Martin because he's pretty much new to the squad. Only been here a season, well, 2 seasons now. Up next, a man who I think we just brought in to move on because he actually had quite good potential and quite good overall, but wasn't going to be good enough for us. Ellis Skinner. He is now at Lille, and he's not kicked on too badly. 20 years of age, 73 overall. I don't remember what season we brought him in, though. It might be one of those later scout reports I did through England, or was it one of the earlier ones? Season 5, right, fair enough. It's kind of in the middle then. So we brought him in, 58 overall, 69 to 93 potential was what he had, and in the end, he's just got in that bracket. He's not at 73. Probably still room to grow for the young goalkeeper as well, to be honest, but at this point he's at 73 rated, 66 diving, 70 positioning, bit of work on those reactions as well, need a bit of work, but otherwise a pretty solid keeper. I doubt he would start for Lille, but he's definitely an option for them anyway, and I'm sure he's enjoying France anyway as it is, because who wouldn't enjoy France? It's a beautiful country. Up next on the list, it is a man that, well, I didn't forget about because I just remembered how bad he was. But I probably would assume that everyone else forgot about him. If you have watched the series from day one, probably a very forgettable man, Ethan James. Actually hasn't turned out awful. I believe we sold him somewhere in England. I might be confusing him with somebody else. But I think we sold him somewhere in England, and then he moved to Südtirol later on, perhaps. Hasn't turned out too bad. Another winger that just wouldn't fit in the squad because we had too bastard many. Decent speed, decent agility, reactions ain't bad. Crossing and ball control's alright. Dribbling's meh. It's not an incredible Streets Won't Forget player, but it's a player who has kind of got better as he's gone on. 50 overall was what he started at when he came in with us in the academy. 62 to 82 potential. So hitting 70 is pretty good. Kind of in the middle of that bracket. So no complaints there from Ethan James. The Welshman, I can't remember where Südtirol is, like what country it's in, but I'm sure he's balling out over there. Next on the list then, the memorable brother, the memorable brother. We saw Dylan Roberts earlier, the forgotten brother, the man who didn't make it. Now we're going to take a look at the man who did. As Ethan Roberts is going to be starting the Champions League final. One of the world's best. The brother that everyone will remember. The brother that everyone will know as a Hartlepool legend. Ethan Roberts, an absolute baller. On occasion, maybe not contributed as much as his overall and stats could. But this season, he's done very well. So we'll give him all the plaudits we can. 93 overall now, 26 years of age. He was always going to be an absolute baller. From day one when you were in the academy, he was going to be the fucking right winger for a long time to come. And it's proven to be true. 96 acceleration, 97 sprint speed, 98 stamina, 99 attacking position. Christ almighty. Ball control and dribbling is emphatic. Long shots are decent, volleys are decent. I mean, there's a lot of green on there, and he's actually a really good player, and there's a reason he's made it to the end, and it's because he's a fucking baller. But Ethan Roberts, he will be one half of the wing partnership, I guess, to start the Champions League final, and joint top overall in our squad as well, 93 alongside Achille Blanchard. So I'm just trying to remember what the stats were for him this season. Maybe he hasn't done as much as I thought he had. He's done alright, maybe not to the level he maybe could have. Ali has done slightly more, which makes me think about whether I do put Ali in instead of Roberts, but we'll think about it. But Ethan Roberts, a star of this team from day one. He's another day oneer. Taking a look at his rating, 56. He's actually exceeded his potential. The first one to actually go beyond what the game thought. 56 overall, 67 to 91 potential. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice a bit. 67 to 91 potential. And now an overall of 93. So he's exceeded what the game expected, which is mad. And I think that's probably the only player that's done that. But that's definitely why he's the memorable brother, rather than the forgotten one. Up next then on the list, another Ethan. Obviously the forgotten Ethan as well. The memorable Ethan is Ethan Roberts. The forgotten Ethan is Ethan Whitehouse, who, again, a victim of the wing problem that we seem to have a ton of. He has gone to Górnik Zabrze in, I believe, Poland. Again, I think he was part of that problem, but also wasn't ever going to make... Or was he part of that problem? He might have been later on, actually. I think he was later on. Never mind, he wasn't part of the wing problem. I'm talking up my arse. It was just another player I was looking for Youth Academy, I think, and he was another winger that we didn't need, which is why we sold him on. 77 acceleration, 79 sprint speed. Decent stats all around the park. It's not awful. It's not bad, and he's definitely got room to grow still, but we didn't need him, and we weren't ever going to use him. In the academy, he had 55 overall when we brought him in. 65 to 89 potential. He's in that bracket, and there's probably still room to grow there for him. So I'm not going to shit talk him too much. But I thought he was one of the early ones. Turns out he wasn't. He's one of the later ones. Now, another Streets Won't Forget. Quite a lot of them. He used to be a striker, don't you know? Ewan Galloway. What an absolute fucking brick shithouse he was in the lower leagues. Was never going to make it to the top, unfortunately, because of the potential the game gave him, which sucks. But he is absolutely one of the most important parts of this series. Brought in as a striker, that wasn't just a meme I made up. He was actually brought in as a striker, and I don't know how when he's got way better defensive stats. Take a look though. Speed was alright, jumping strength solid, stamina good, reactions good. As you can tell, maybe not the absolute best defender on his day. Defensive awareness was 59. Yeah, it wasn't exceptional all over the place. It was a lot of work to get him to where we got him to be fair. But tackle stats good, heading accuracy was good, short passing was good as well. At 5'10", with 85 jumping, he did out jump quite a lot of opposition strikers just because of how high his jumping was, and he was a very important part of those lower league successes. And he's at Bordeaux now, but of course we wish him nothing but success. An absolute incredible player, Ewan Galloway. Up next then, Evan Maguire. I think he was another one from that Irish scout report. We got Quigley and Harkin, I think it was. He's now at Corona Kielce, and when we brought him in, I don't think he had high potential, which is why we sold him on, but his overall was high, which is why we brought him in. I may be confusing him with someone else. I am. There was someone else who had that we will talk about later. 51 overall, 71 to 94 potential. He hasn't hit his potential. Still at 21, so still time. But it was always going to be a long path for Evan Maguire because A, the winger issues we've had pretty much the whole series, and B, he was just never good enough anyway. But he's not bad. He's a serviceable winger. I don't want to say these players are outright shit, but some of them are. I'm just going to be nice about it because we try to keep good memories here. Some good stats, actually, to be fair, on some of these players. Some of them, of course, not really. But Evan Maguire, another one from the Irish Scout Report, went to Corona Kielce, where I don't remember where that is. But, yeah, another one that was part of that winger influx that we seem to have. Up next on the list, then, a player that's only just come in, or recently come in. I don't think it was last season. I think it was like season 7 or season 6, perhaps. Ivan Hansen. He is an actual pretty good right back. We'll never see how it comes out, but he was an exciting prospect when we loaned him out to Serang, and I think we got him in season 7. We must have done because he couldn't have been any younger to bring him in. But he has a good future ahead of him. He hasn't quite got his potential bracket yet, but he's only 17, so allow it and that. 57 overall when we brought him into the youth academy. 71 to 94 potential. By no means a bad player, but by no means he's going to make it to this Hartlepool squad because A, he's not here for the Champions League final, and B, if we win this, we won't be here after this season. So it's the way it goes. But an actual decent player, which could have had good potential had he arrived earlier, but I didn't really scout Iceland earlier. So that's the way it goes sometimes. But Ivan Hansen will definitely grow to be a baller. Up next then, first of the Ezras. We've got two of them. It is Ezra Jennings, who kind of got shafted, if I'm being truthful. Kind of got shafted. I don't want to talk shit on him because he was a very serviceable left back, and I didn't really want to sell him either. But the whole thing with getting Sutherland back was that Antwerp didn't have enough left backs to bring him, or to let us have him back. So we had to send the left back the other way. And unfortunately, that was Ezra Jennings. 20 years of age, 77 overall. Was always going to be somewhat decent. Maybe we wouldn't have made it for us anyway, but still only 20 years of age. Still has time on his side. Does he still show great potential? Still shows great potential. So he does have everything to lose, or nothing to lose and everything to gain, is what I should say. 82 acceleration, 72 sprint speed. Could do be a bit faster, but the stats all around are pretty solid. And if we hadn't had the whole story arc with Sutherland, I think Jennings would have probably made it to this point. Don't know if he'd been in the Champions League final, but he had definitely made it to being in the squad at this point. An actual very good player, to be honest. And heading accuracy and jumping quite high for a 5'7". But yeah, it's unfortunate. It wasn't really what I wanted to do with him. I didn't really want to sell him, but we had to do what we had to do to get Aidan Sutherland back. And unfortunately, Ezra Jennings was part of that. The other Ezra as well turned out quite good, I believe. But again, was never going to make it into our centre-back lineup. He's doing very well as well. 77 overall. Both the Ezras kind of got stiffed by me, kind of got fucked over by me, really. Didn't really get what they deserved at this club, if I'm being truthful. And I apologise for that to both the Ezras, because they're both pretty good players. But ultimately, it's the way it goes in football sometimes. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve. 77 overall, though, for Ezra Lucas. He's at Mönchengladbach. Good all-round stats. 91 jump in, 90 strength, 82 stamina, 86 sprint speed. And a monster, really. Decent heading as well, 73 heading accuracy. A monster at centre-back, 6'1". I'm sure he's terrorising Bundesliga attackers, I guess. He wouldn't be terrorising defences because he is the defender. But a great player, Ezra Lucas. Up next, a man who will make it to the final with us, most likely on the bench. He's the least likely to start alongside Bull, despite his decent performances this season. It's just the other ones have performed better. But anyway, I can't find him. There he is. Felix Chavez, a very good, solid player. I believe we signed him the same season we signed Billy Bull. We needed to bolster that centre-back partnership, and we did. He was brought in the championship season where we got promoted. Felix Chavez came in at 75 overall, now sits at 85 overall, which gives us a whole growth of 10. Did I read Ezra Lucas' stats out, actually? Hold on. I don't think I read Ezra Lucas' stats out. I didn't. Just a reference, Ezra Lucas, 56 overall, 75 to 94 potential, so he was always highly rated, and he got into that potential bracket. So I apologize, Ezra Lucas. I completely forgot. But Felix Chavez, back to him now. He did very well to get here. Got up 10 overalls already. I've lost the fucking page I was on. Here we are. Found it. And, yeah, he's the least likely to get in, but that's not because he's bad. It's because everyone else is bloody good. 6'3", 95 strength, 89 jumping. It's a mess sometimes on these stats, but this one is a very good, strong, all-round defender. Felix Chavez, take a bow, mate. You deserve to be here. Up next, then, on the list, it is Fernando Maresca. A point where there was a few points where I was thinking of selling this man, but I'm glad I didn't. Solid midfielder, back up to Serrano now, of course, who we'll talk about later on. But Fernando Maresca, good all-rounder, brings everything. He's got stamina, passing, ball control, speed as well if it needs it, 80 speed. All those physicals, mentals are in the green. See what I mean by all-round? Like, he has a bit of everything that we need in that midfield on occasion. Decent ball control, good passing, decent shooting, actually, to be fair, as well, for a centre mid. And he can defend as well. So he's literally just got everything. He can do anything you want. He could even make you a cake, which is probably not what you need on a football pitch, but he is an absolute baller of an all-rounder. I'm glad I kept him on as an option because he deserves it. He deserves to be in this final. May even get some minutes in said final as well. Brought him in season... where is it? Am I blind or am I dumb? Or is it both? It's under my thumb, that's why. Season 5 we brought him in. 77 overall when he came in, now in at 84. So, good growth as well. I think his potential was about 80, but he's grown beyond that. Like all these players seem to have done. So up next then, Finley Ward. Difficult one this, because he will succeed. Just not with us. I don't know why we searched for so many Youth Academy players towards the end of the series. It was a really silly move, to be honest, because we didn't need to. But Finley Ward, another Aussie, or is he a Kiwi? I can't remember. I don't know by the flag, so I'm going to have to look for my information here. My brain doesn't quite switch on sometimes. Finley Ward. Did I write him down? Am I blind? I did. We got him in Season 6 in the Season 6 Academy Report. Always going to be a baller, and he's proven to be just that at FCSB. Still a long way to go as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did reach his potential. When we brought him in, 63 overall in the academy, 72 to 94 potential. He will make it. He's got to make it. He looks so good now, and he's only 19 years of age. So he's definitely going to be there by the end of the 15 seasons, if I ever sim that long. Maybe I will sim that long just for a video, just to see how everyone else does. Probably not, though. Don't put your houses on it, but he does look quite good. And he will be a baller down the line. It was just, again, I don't know why we went and did fucking Youth Academy reports in Season 7. What's up, Mad Martian TV? Welcome, mate. Fran Marino up next to reminisce about. And I honestly, this is bad to say, I half forgot about Fran Marino because I brought him in, he balled for a little bit, and then he just fell off. And I don't know why he fell off. We brought him in Season 5. Overall 74. I thought, man, this is going to be the cab that takes us to the end. He wasn't. I don't want to talk shit on him, but it didn't feel like he was right for the team. He didn't really fit the team, to be honest with you. And then we brought Maresca in. I think the rest, as they say, is history. So, Fran Marino, 79 overall. Not a bad midfielder by any depths, but it just didn't really fit our team. Strong. Not really that strong, actually. I thought I was going to say speedy is what I was trying to say, but my brain doesn't work sometimes. Agile as well, stamina's good, quite a lot of green on the technical stats, a good all-rounder, just didn't really fit our system. And Udinese, I've probably got quite a gem there actually, looking back on it. But Fran Marino, he actually did, like I said, he did quite well to start with. I don't know what went wrong. Probably just the influx of midfielders that season, I believe. Fran Ochoa. That's a fucking name. That is a fucking name. Fran Ochoa. What a baller. If there was one I wish I'd kept now, looking back, had for this Champions League final, Wilson's backup, Fran Ochoa. It adds up, really, doesn't it? But he wanted to leave, and I couldn't stop him. So I had to sell him before we kind of lost money out on him. But if there was a man I could bring back for this Champions League final, I can't now, obviously, and I wish I had thought about it in advance. But if there's a man I could have brought back, Fran Ochoa would be the man I brought back, and he would have started the Champions League final. And for another season oneer, getting to the Champions League final would have been an absolute fantastic fucking statement. But it is the way it goes in football sometimes. 43 overall when he came in. I believe we had to position change him. 72 and 94 potential all the way back in season 1. He's now an 84 rated for Almeria, and I really want to come back, to be honest, but it's the way it goes. Football doesn't always go the way you want, but Fran Ochoa, a fucking incredible winger at those first few seasons. I think it was the first season he played, and then we loaned him out because we knew he had good potential. We put someone else there, and then he came back and was just an absolute baller. And then Duncan Wilson happened, and I think that's why Fran Ochoa got a little bit upset, wanted to make his mark elsewhere, which is fair enough, to be honest, because Duncan Wilson was hard to dethrone. I can kind of understand the frustration there. Up next, another, well, not brand new, I would say, but a newer player to the squad. We've signed him this season, and it is George Dickinson. And just for reference, I'm gonna split these into two parts because I'm getting tired just reading all these names out. We're gonna go up until the end of L, and then for the next one, we'll go from M to Z, and I'll do that tomorrow, or maybe I'll do it later tonight, and then do the finale. The finale is gonna come on Thursday, so I'll give myself time to do the second part of the wording now. But I feel like reading all these names out is just gonna be too long. And I feel like splitting them into two parts probably makes it a bit more sense. So we're going to go up to the end of L, which still leaves us quite a lot of players to read. There's about another 30, 40 players to read out of that. So we'll still be here a little while longer, but I think splitting it into two parts makes a bit more sense. Mainly for me, because I don't really have the time to continue. But anyway, back on topic. George Dickinson, brought him in this season to back up Miranda, the Kyle Walker region, I believe. And I haven't actually double-checked that. So it might not be true, but we're just going to go with a story. Anyway, George Dickinson coming in from Newcastle, I believe it was. One of our players going the other way. I will explain that player in part 2 because that's where he is now. But overall of 84. And I believe, I think we signed him in an 82 or an 83. So he hasn't really grown too much. But an 84 now. He didn't really need to grow. He was already there. It was just needing that option in case Miranda had anything serious happen to him. 91 acceleration, 86 sprint speed. Mostly green on there. Mental stats decent as well. Ball control's quite good. Dribbling's quite good. Solid option to have. But he's only just come in season 9. Literally this season. So not really a lot of history or anything behind him, to be honest with you. Other than that, we brought him in and he's done well. George Dickinson will definitely be... I don't know, actually, it might not be on the bench for the Champions League final. We'll have to figure it out. But he'll definitely be involved somewhere along the line. And he has been involved this season. Another George, which I now regret selling, but it's the way it goes sometimes in football. Sometimes you make the wrong decisions, and they come back to bite you in the arse. And I think you all know who I'm talking about. Was always just going to loan him, but nobody wanted to loan him, so he just went on the permanent to Sporting, who reached the semi-finals, and for mere moments I thought we were going to have to go up against our old goalkeeper in the final. We don't. Leverkusen beat Sporting, unfortunately. It would have been nicer to face him, to be honest. But his stats have gone way up. We sold him when he was like 82 rated or something. And then he got some boost out of somewhere to become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. 87 diving, 96 kicking, 80 positioning, 91 handling, 88 reflexes, 89 reactions as well. A phenomenal goalkeeper. He was actually quite good for us as well. That's why I wanted to loan him out, so I could keep him on in case we needed him back. But nobody wanted to loan him, so I thought, feck it, we'll just sell him, get the money for him. And looking back, it was a bad idea. We only sold him for 60 million, but then he's obviously his overall boosted up, which is kind of annoying. But it's the way it goes. But George Higgins, I always knew he was going to be a baller. whether it was for us or not for us. I wish it had been for us, but I was impatient. That's the way it goes. Came through the academy in season 5, and take a look at this now. He was 64 overall when he came in, with 79 to 94 potential. 87 is what he's at. I think he had exciting prospects, so 87 might be his limit, but it could still go further for Hibbert Sporting, or maybe we'll bring him back if there's a season turn. I think we probably will. But anyway, up next, another man who I brought in just for the name. I'll be honest with you, just for the name. Godson Hassan. Quite a cool name in my opinion, and we brought him in just for the name, and he's actually not a half bad right back, to be honest. He's turned out to be quite decent. Now, honestly, I don't know if that's where we sold him. I do not remember. But Godson Hassan is now 74 rated, 24 years of age, and I can't remember when we brought him in, so I'm gonna have to go look. I think he might have been an early player. Why are these pages sticking together? Right, 57 overall, 68 to 98 potential. He's gone into that potential bracket. I don't think he'd actually ever get that good, to be honest with you. But he's proven me wrong. And he's actually got some good all-round stats, you know. I don't know if he'll grow past 74, but he does look pretty good at this rate. So fair play to Godson Hassan. And I'm hoping he's enjoying his career in France anyway. Up next, on the list, I need to go all the way back again. And I believe this is a Scotsman. It sounds like a Scottish name. I believe he was another part of the winger thing where we had too many of them. Gordon Simpson actually has come out quite good at Alanyaspor now in Turkey. Don't remember if that's where we sold him, but I think he was part of the winger. Philip. I don't think he was season 1. I don't think he could have been season 1 due to his age. Maybe he wasn't part of the winger Philip. He might have been a season 2 or a season 3 or season 3. So, I mean, the winger thing's been going for the whole series, but my point is, we sold him. So, came into the academy at 54 overall, 66 to 90 potential. He's quite, he's about in the middle of that bracket. 76 overall for Gordon Simpson. Good speed, good agility, balanced stamina reactions, not bad. Ball control, dribbling, long shots, finishing, and short pass on the green as well. He's turned out to be quite decent. Still needs a bit of work on his game, like crossing, curve, etc. But not been a complete shocker of a player, which, fair enough. I didn't think he was going to be. But again, it was just too many wingers. Too many wingers spoil the broth, as they say. I don't think anyone's ever said that, but you get my point. Sorry about that. Another player now. Got something in my teeth. Another player now in the archives here. I actually completely forgot about, if I'm being genuine. There's a couple that have slipped the mind throughout this whole series. And I... What? Did I write his name down wrong? Is it Gustavo Marquez? It was bloody... I'm an idiot. I've got down Gusto Marquez here because I've written his name down wrong. And I thought he just wanted, like, he disappeared out of the files. But no, he is still here. Gustavo Marquez. It turned out quite well. Another of the winger problem players that got sold. I believe he was in with Martinez and, yeah, the Spanish contingent, Mariano Martinez. We'll talk about him in part 2. But Gusto Marquez, I got him written down as Gusto, and I don't know why. It's Gustavo. I'm an idiot. So we should have done that from day one anyway. 55 overall, 66 to 92 potential. Not absolutely awful, and he always had a good potential, but he's done better than I ever thought, to be honest with you. I was never going to keep him on because of the influx of wingers we had. But everyone can't make it, although he is at Corona Kielce as well, along with somebody else who I can't remember who, but moments ago we saw someone else there. But yes, he is there now, and he will be on that right wing. Decent stats as well. Acceleration, sprint speed, agility, all good. And a lot of green there on the technicals as well. Not a bad player whatsoever. So fair play, Gustavo Marquez. I forgot about you. I even forgot how to spell your name. So that's brilliant from me. Top tier. Streets won't forget coming up again. Maybe not on the same level as another or all the other ones, but still a fucking favourite in my heart. We knew he was never going to make it, and yet we still tried. Harry Howell. What a fucking baller he was in the lower leagues. What a name he has as well. and the Welsh wizard Harry Howell. Obviously, that nickname has since been taken by Ethan Roberts. He was never going to be a fucking baller because his potential was very low at the start. I'm looking in here in the academy. We brought him in 55 overall with potential of 55 to 75. His max is only ever going to be 75. I think that potential went way down, but we grinded and we made sure we made something out of this man. And at 72 overall, we've done a good job, I would say. Taking a look at this now, a brilliant player in the lower leagues. Maybe not once we got further up, but decent speed, decent agility, stamina reactions, attack position all in the green as well. And the finishing, maybe a lot of the other stuff not quite there, but the finishing was what mattered for a striker. And he could finish his dinner on his day if he ever needed to. But what a man, out at Club Bruges now. Probably balling out there. I think he was in the Champions League, was he not? Did Club Brugge make a Champions League? They did. Look, and he's going to be going into the Europa League. I don't know how far they got in the Europa League. A little spoilers here, I guess, for the end of the season. I think they're not in the preliminaries, but still. The point is, he's been in Europe, so he's not really had a bad career at all, has he, Harry Howell? What a man. Nothing but respect for the boy. I always click on the wrong page, but that's okay. Harry Howell, what a baller. Look at that man. Really wish he'd had the potential to go with us long term, but sometimes it ain't always going like that, unfortunately. Up next, then, on the list, it is Hu Zhu. Now, if you don't recognise this name, that's fairly understandable. Wasn't my plan to sign him, but we needed to do it for an objective. And for whatever reason, at that point, I was dangerously close to the sack. He hasn't done anything, he hasn't played anything. We're trying to sell him as well. We will be selling him in the summer. Nothing really to say about him. He's not actually half bad, but 61 rated for a Premier League team going for the Champions League. That's all I've really got to say, to be honest with you. And the same with all the other free agents, but we'll come up to them in or the ones we had to sign for the objective, but we'll come to them in a minute. Up next, another part of the winger problem. But one that I knew was going to be quite good. And he has scored against us many a time in his career mode, to be honest. The fucking prick. Hugo Hansen, now at West Ham. Put some goals past us on the way through. 77 overall for a 23-year-old Swedish winger. Doesn't look like he's come up too bad. Another man I would like to see succeed with us, but of course, too many wingers. It's the story of my life in this career mode. 85 acceleration, 83 sprint speed, 85 agility, 75 balance as well, 73 stamina. On the green. Decent ball control, dribbling's good, free kick accuracy is good, long shots are good, curves good, crossing solid, short pass and volleys on the green as well. So a very decent Premier League winger, to be honest with you. Although the thing is, I say Premier League winger, I've got a little secret for you. They're in the Championship. I forgot they were in Premier League anymore. I forgot they got relegated. But I believe, if memory serves me correct, and I will double check this, because I checked this off screen, or maybe I checked it on screen. I checked it at some point. West Ham are top of the Championship. Yeah, they won the Championship. I mean, looking at this, you got to feel bad for Leeds. I don't like Leeds, but you got to feel bad for them a little bit, especially if they're the ones that don't come up in season 10. But anyway, we're going off topic here. Hugo Hansen, solid winger and a baller. And let me find his potential, and that came with a Swedish lot. I'm just trying to remember when the Swedish lot came in. I want to say season 3. Yeah, Hugo Hansen, overall is 60, potential of 74 to 94. What's his overall now? 77, was it? So he's in his potential bracket, which is fair enough. Fantastic for him. Still might he scored past us, but it's the way it is. Another one of the ones where the streaks won't forget, and the man who has the honour, the credit of scoring the best goal in this entire career mode, Jack Cochrane. What a fucking player he was. We got him early off the free agents, I believe. And he was never meant to get as good as he did. But he just kept clawing away, plugging away, growing away into a very, very good midfielder. And he's at Celtic, and I believe they got into the Champions League knockouts. I just checked them there, so maybe they were some European knockouts. And he's doing really well, a good all-rounder. And I wish we could have brought him back, but it would have made no sense, to be honest with you. Decent all round, like I said. Only the yellows are quite close to being green as well, and the short passing long passing, ball control, all very good. Long shots only 60, which makes his mad goal all the way back when even better. But Jack Cochran, an absolute baller. Streets won't forget. I think he was captain for a while as well of this incredible unit. And yeah, what a player he was. Up next, then, on the list is Jackson Barlow. Now, this is a difficult one because I liked him. I really did like him in the team. But he didn't get really any contributions. Didn't really get goals or assists all that often. As much of a good player he was, I would. The plan was, or at least the hope was, to have him and Wilson in the wings on the wings in the Champions League final, or maybe Roberts as well, obviously, because you can't forget Roberts. But he was going to be involved. The thing is, he just wasn't doing enough for me. He wasn't contributing enough, in my opinion. And the plan wasn't to actually put him in a swap deal to Angers for a man that we will explain about later, in part two, actually, now. But Jackson Barlow was not meant to go. But at the same time, it's probably the right move because he didn't really contribute too many goals and assists here. He's fun to use, but didn't really get him many contributions. So unfortunately, he was shown the door. A brilliant player though, 94 acceleration, 94 sprint speed, 94 agility, an absolute all-round class winger. Angers have got a fucking brilliant baller there. Just because I watched one of their players, they got one back because I couldn't actually afford the player. I had to do a swap deal, which is why he went in the first place. But an incredible player with incredible stats. It just didn't seem to work out with us on the pitch. Like I couldn't get the contributions that those stats deserve, if that makes sense. But Jackson Barlow, an incredible player, and I won't forget him. But I just wish he could have provided more when we had him. Anyway, up next, maybe not a club legend, maybe not a Streets won't forget, but one of my favourite players, even though he went a long, long while back. Jaime Arango. There was moments where I thought he was going to be the end-game striker, and I was obviously predicting too early because he has plateaued at 71. But what a man he was when we had him. He had showing great potential. I think calling him back from his loan, or even sending him out on loan, was probably where it went wrong. We should have just kept him on, and he might have got even better. I don't know. He's a fast player, agility and all that. Physical stats are quite good. Finishing's decent. I feel like we maybe fucked up with Jim Morango along the way. Maybe we started his growth. Maybe we were the ones that fucked up his potential. But ultimately, we'll always remember him. He had that fucking incredible run of four. I think it was like season 3 when we were about, or maybe season 2. We were about to send him out on loan, and he just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna ball out, and ball out he did. And unfortunately, he didn't ever get to his potential. But he was so fun to use when we had him. 49 overall when he came into the academy, 73 to 94 potential. Yeah, very good player. But didn't quite get the potential bracket, unfortunately. As well, Jackson Barlow, I don't think I actually read out his stats. I actually don't remember what season we brought him in. I think he was a season 2er. Was he a season 2er? He was a season 2er. He's been here for a while. 52 overall was Jackson Barlow's overall, 76 to 94 potential. And he was 86 rated just there. So Barlow's done incredible, but just couldn't seem to get the contributions. But anyway, Jaime Morango, Streets won't forget, at least for me anyway, maybe not for everybody. One of my favourites, just because I don't know, there's just something about him. Up next on the list then, a man that I forgot, and it's not this guy that I forgot, it's actually the other one that I forgot, the other Jake that we'll be coming back to, but man, talk about letting a fucking talent go. I didn't think he was going to get this good. Excuse me? Jake Pearson, I think he was one of the later ones who brought in the later English reports, like season 6, season 7 area. Maybe not. Where is he? Maybe, was he an early one? What's his age? 21. I must have written him down somewhere. Oh, there he is. Season 5. 55 overall, 76 94 potential. Maybe the potential was always there, but again, with the wing stuff, everything, too many wingers, we had to sell him. But he has come out quite good. He's at Winterthur. I reckon he could get a better club. No offense to Winterthur. Decent speed stats, decent agility, decent balance. Stamina's alright. Quite a lot of green technicals as well, so definitely room to grow here for Jake Pearson. Still showing great potential as well, unless 80 is his potential. He's still got room to grow. We did part ways with him, but that's only because we had to, due to the fact that we have 19 million wingers. So Jake Pearson, I think I've already said this, 55 overall, 76 and 94 potential. Up next, this was the one I forgot, but I do remember, he's coming back to me now. I think he was like a big, I think he was like 6'5" or something, and he was just like a big brick shit house in the defense when we used him. No, he's not. He's 6'1", but he was still a big brick shit house anyway. My point is, a very good player when we needed him. Jake Tomlinson, I do remember him. The memories are coming back a bit now. He's not Casa Pia, and he was an early one. How early? Good question. I want to say season 2, and I would be right with saying that. 57 overall, 71 to 94 potential, just outside his potential bracket. But of course, his potentials will have gone down since. These are the potentials when you first come into the academy, or what you get. 75 acceleration, 81 sprint speed, 73 jumping, 72 stamina, 73 strength, solid all-rounder, 72 heading accuracy, 71 defensive awareness, and 76 stand tackle. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's not obviously the greatest, but it's absolutely not bad. A decent centre-back for where he's at, which is Casapia, so not bad whatsoever. Up next on to the list of things is a newer one. I believe this is a newer one anyway, because I didn't recognise the name. And I think the weird thing is, the older they are, the more I recognise the name. So it's probably going to be a newer one. He might even still be at the club for all I know. James Manning. Anyone know James Manning? We sold him to Hatayspor. 67 overall, 19 years of age. Probably still got a while to grow. I just don't remember when we got him. Let me just check the archives here. Here's part of that season 7 scout report that we did for some bizarre reason. 61 overall when we signed him, 72 at 94 potential. So he's still got room to grow. He's grown 6 since we brought him in, so I'm not going to call the time on him yet. He's in Turkey, and take a look at his stats. 68 goalkeeping overall. Position needs a bit of work. Diving, kicking, handling, and reflexes are all decent. Maybe reflexes, a bit more work as well. Reactions need a bit of work too. So by far from being a finished article, but 6'5" really helps him, and also still being only 19, he has plenty of time on his side, so no complaints there, I suppose, for him. Up next on the list is a man who is still at the club, out on loan, but still at the club, and I believe he could be one of the great centre mids if we were to continue this season or this series. Got a lot of love for this man. Jasper Wheeler, an incredible little midfielder who definitely has the potential. He won't succeed, unfortunately, because we just don't have the time, but he will be very good. But anyway, 75 overall, 19 years of age, a long way to go. Still with us, like I said, on loan at Bologna. Decent physicals, mentals could be a bit better, and the technicals for his position are alright, but again, could do with a bit more work. But he's a man for the future if we were to have a future here. If we weren't already near the end of the career mode, an absolute brilliant player. I reckon he'd get mid-80s to high 80s at the minimum. And I can't remember when we got him. It wasn't as far as season 7, was it? Season 5. 60 overall with 68 to 94 potential. Well, he's already broken into his potential bracket. It's just how far can he get in that potential bracket. At 75 overall just now, I reckon there's still more to go at just 19 years of age, you know. Up next on the list then. Again, it might be subjective, this one. Streaks won't forget for me personally, but it might be subjective on this one. And if you know what I'm writing, if you've been here a while and know what I'm writing here. Jean-Paul Sarr. Absolute fucking baller. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Currently at Nottingham Forest, but going to be a free agent at the end of the season. A brilliant player. While we had him, I think it was League 2, and I think it was the last season of League 2 and the first season of League 1. Although we only had one season of League 1, so the only season of League 1 was a key component in that partnership with Rodriguez to get us to the Championship. But unfortunately, he reached the limit quite quick. We brought in Blanchard, and then we moved on Jean-Paul Sarr to Nottingham Forest. He's been there since, and he's actually scored once past us, if I remember correctly. So he's got his revenge on us a little bit. But we'll always respect this man. Really got us out of the mud of the League One quite quickly. Decent speed, decent jumping and strength as well. Shots and finishing, solid. But again, never going to be an end game player. And we only really needed him for those seasons, to be honest. But a brilliant player. And in my opinion, the Streets won't forget. But now here comes a real Streets won't forget. A man who has gone, he came from absolutely nothing. Rodriguez's first ACL injury was a blessing in disguise for this man. As, of course it is, of course, who else would it be? Jesper Karlsson. How do you explain this man other than clutch? Jesper Clutch Karlsson. An absolute fucking baller on his day. First real chance we gave him in the Premier League. First proper chance we gave him against a big team because Rodriguez was injured. Karlsson came in against Arsenal, mid-title race in Season 8. Mid-title race, Karlsson got his first proper opportunity. Gets a hat-trick. Gets a hat-trick. On his first proper Premier League appearance against Arsenal, gets a hat-trick. That's what big mentality players are made of. Not to mention as well, I can't remember if it was last season or this season, it's all kind of fused together. At Old Trafford, last minute winner against Manchester United. Literally last kick of the game. It was 0-0 all the way through. Last kick of the game. And the reason I'm going back here is to show you what he's done for us this season as well, even in his limited time. More contributions and appearances. 24 and 14 for Jesper Karlsson as he continues to ball out for us. And the reason that I kept so much faith with him, and we'll go back to him here, because this is a big reason why we kept so much faith with him, was his finishing ability, his pure finishing ability. 92 finishing. Could sniff out a goal from anywhere. And it really shows in his game as well, to be honest with you. Athleticism very good, shooting very good. Acceleration 94, sprint speed 92, so he's fast. All the physicals are in the green. Attacking position is solid, but the finishing was what really sold me on him and really wanted me to try. Really wanted me to try and to succeed with him. Fucking hell, I am struggling, boys. But basically, the 92 finishing was what made me want to keep going with this man rather than bringing somebody else. And Jesper Karlsson has more than deserved the opportunities he's had, and he's made the most of the opportunities he's had as well. Green shooting stats, green passing stats, an absolute baller. If I can, I'll give him some minutes in the final, but it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to choose. Up next, a man we just recently sold, I believe. Not long ago. Or maybe we haven't sold him yet and he needs to go still. Like, the transfer window hasn't gone through for him to go. Oh, no, he has gone. He's in the MLS. We weren't in the MLS at 20. In all seriousness, Joe Lowe for Columbus Crew didn't really feel like he was going to get anywhere with us, and I think I made the right choice. No potential tag. And looking back, before we do look any further, actually, Jesper Karlsson was what I wanted to look at. Jesper Karlsson coming into the academy, overall of 53, potential of 66 to 92. He's at an overall of 81, so he is at the higher end of the potential bracket. But anyway, continuing along with this man, Joe Lowe, we brought him in through the academy. I think I was in that Season 7 English report for some reason. We just decided to scout the world apparently in Season 7 for no reason other than because. But Joe Lowe came through there, overall of 57 when he came to the academy, potential of 68 to 92. So he's just about there. He will probably hit that potential bracket, but not far off anyway, only one below. And he's not a bad defender. He's just not the defender we need. Decent speed, decent physical stats overall, to be honest, and a tackling ability is up there. Maybe he's just got room to grow or needs time to grow, but he's going to do that in the MLS surely. And it's only been 2 seasons since we brought him up, so he's been up 10 overalls in 2 seasons. So let's just give him time and see what it can do. Up next on the list then is going to be... I wish it could have gone differently for this man. I really wish it had, because he was a clutch player on many occasions, and quite honestly, and this is mad to think about, this man right here, Joshua Pelletier, could have been the replacement for Duncan Wilson once upon a time. That's how close we were to maybe having this man be the endgame winger or a part of the endgame team. He could have replaced Duncan Wilson. So back when Duncan Wilson had his ACL injury, we brought in Joshua Pelletier as an option to have, because we had a left. I think we're backup left back, which was Bishop, and he wasn't really there at that point. We'll talk about Bishop in part two, but we had to bring in a baller. Joshua Pelletier was the baller we brought in, and he deserved better, to be honest with you, if I'm being straight up. And I'm saying that as the man who I know I could have done more with. But he was really just injury cover for Wilson. And the thing is, if Wilson hadn't had the potential spurt for season whatever, the season after that, season 7, I think we brought him in season 6. So season 7 would have been our first Premier League season. If Duncan Wilson hadn't had the potential growth that he could have had, then Pelletier probably would have stayed and Wilson would have gone. But the thing is, Wilson had the potential to go even further. Exciting prospect again. Joshua Pelletier had hit his potential of 80. I didn't know if we could have made him grow more. Potentially, possibly not. But anyway, an absolute baller on the occasions we needed him to be. A brilliant player all the way through. Deserves his spot at Hoffenheim, balling out in Germany. We signed him at 78 overall. He's grown to an 80. So he's not, again, he didn't have much growth left in him. Physical stats are very good. Technical stats are pretty good too. So he's still a very good player. Just it was make or break whether if Wilson hadn't had the potential, who knows, Pelletier might have been involved in the Champions League final. Anything can happen in this career mode. That's all I'm saying. But a definite baller. Up next is Kento Endo. He is another one that we brought in for that objective last season. I think we had to sign players born in Asia. And he actually isn't awful. But again, he's not good enough for us, and we only brought him in because of that objective. He will be joining Charleroi when the transfer window opens anyway. We gave him a couple of minutes of game time. He wasn't awful then either, but it was cup games against lower league sides, so maybe he does need to move to a slightly lesser club in order to get the best out of him. 77 in terms of acceleration, 83 sprint speed, 80 agility, 82 balance, 75 stamina, 73 attacking position, decent technicals as well. But the thing is, I think his potential is 72 if I remember correctly. Or it's not much higher. But really, he was just for the objective, so it doesn't really matter too much. I think his potential maybe a bit higher, but not incredibly higher. I'll put him on a wide playmaker, get that weak foot up before he goes. The point is, we didn't need him. Again, wingers, we had a load of them. But he's not bad at all. And we brought him in. I think we actually brought him in. What rating do we bring him at? 69 rating. He's not up to 72, so he's had a bit of growth. He hasn't played. That's not too bad. But realistically, it was only for the objective, unfortunately. To tell you very bad news there, Kento. You weren't really going to be a part of the plans. Up next, then, another man who probably could have a good long-term future, but for now won't. Is this a man I'm thinking of? Yes, it is. Ketso Kamala is 2 with Kamalo as her name, and the other one is who I'm thinking of, but this one is quite good too. With Ketso Kamalo at 66 overall, showing great potential still, but we have moved him to Saudi. Not intentionally, I just accepted any bid that came in for him because he has a potential. I didn't want to waste his potential here. Decent abilities all round. Good technicals, or sorry, physicals. Aggression's good, and his rest of his stuff's not great, but obviously he's got great potential, so he'll grow into himself. He'll get better. It's just I didn't see it happening here, if that makes sense. I didn't see that being possible here, just because of how low rated he was. But he is going to be a baller at some point. 49 overall when he came into the academy. He's now at a 66, so he has grown well already. 75 to 94 is his potential, so he's got a long way to go, but I reckon he gets there. This showing great potential tag. It's just we don't need him here, which sounds bad, but we don't. Yeah, it's cruel and mean what I'm saying, but it's the way it goes. Sometimes you gotta get the cruel points across, and realistically, he is a good player, but it's not for us. No point in wasting players here when they could be thriving elsewhere. Another man who went to Al Adala with Mr. Quetzal Kamalo is Kaya Shabalala, who maybe could have been a Shabalala option for the Champions League final. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. We're not going to have a Shabalala in the final, truth be told, because none of them really made it. There was one that we could have had made it, but he will be in part 2. I will tell that story in part 2. But Kaya Shabalala, he is pretty decent, you know, still showing great potential as well. Decent wing option for Al Adala. 91 acceleration, 80 sprint speed, 89 agility, 77 balance. all right technical stats around the board, it seems. For a winger, he's got what he needs: curve, crossing, dribbling, and ball control, all in the green. So not bad at all. But again, another one where we went on a stupid scout report and we didn't need one in season 7. I don't understand why we did that. I'm still asking myself. Maybe it was for an objective. I just don't remember. 47 overall when we brought Kaya Shabalala in with a potential of 75 to 94. So he does have time on his side at just 19 years of age as well. But it's just he wasn't for us. We didn't need him. Up next, another man, I think out that season 7 lot. I don't really know what I was doing in season 7. Apparently, scouting was what I needed to do for some reason, some bizarre reason. Christopher Olsen is the man who is here. He's still technically with us, but he's on loan at Sandefjord. He will probably go in the summer because he hasn't really grown since he went on loan. So, he was one that I thought could be fun to use, could be good down the line. But I think Ivan Hansen, who we already talked about, will probably be a better Icelandic right back for us if we ever needed one. And ultimately, we don't need one, so we could just sell him on. But he's on loan at Sandefjord this year. Speed could be a bit better, but he's not bad for his level, I suppose. Stamina's decent. Technicals need a bit of work. I mean, it's just a work in progress for Christopher Olsen, but at 19 years of age, he's still got time on his side. 59 overall when he came to the academy, with 66 to 90 potential. Not quite hit that bracket yet. I reckon he'll hit his potential bracket. I just don't know how high he'll go because I don't think he has a potential tag. Not that I can check because he's on loan, but I don't think he had one when we loaned him out either. So we will move on from him swiftly. Up next, maybe in a lower kind of meaning, in my opinion, but still a Streets Won't Forget for me personally. Lebohang Malangu. Now, I really liked this guy, and I really wanted him to be involved towards the end. He might not have got to this level, but at least getting to Premier League, I would have liked to see him around in the Premier League era. But unfortunately, not to be. Lebohang Malangu, he was really good on loan for a while, and we brought him back, and then he kind of just hit his potential at 74, and he's kind of plateaued there. But still a very good player to have in your squad, and Luton are very lucky to have him. Good pace for a midfielder, agility, balance, stamina, reactions, attacking position, all round pretty good for 74 rate, to be honest. A lot of those green stats, some of those yellow as well. Not a red stat on there. He's a good all-rounder. Maybe more of a cam than a DM actually. So maybe we could have pulled that out of him and seen if we could have got a bit more rating out of him, but I doubt it. But still a really good player anyway. Lebohang Malangu, in my opinion. If we go back and look at his scout report, I believe he was a season oneer. He is a season oneer. 46 overall to begin with, 66 to 90 potential. His potential looks like it's 74, so he's well in this potential bracket. So by no means a bad career for him. So that is the way it goes. Unfortunate there, Lebohang Malangu. But I would like to see him come around to the end. Unfortunately, not to be. Another Lebohang now, and this is a part of the Shabalala project where we're trying to find a good Shabalala, and realistically, no offense to the lad when we go on him here, was never going to be the Shabalala we needed. He's not bad now, but when we sold him, he sucked. He's actually made a career out of what he had. So fair play to him. He's actually done really well. Looks like his contract's going to expire at Bastia. May become a free agent unless they renew that. But 72 overall at 22 years of age. Still room to grow and time on his side. But it was more a part of the Shabalala project, and I don't remember which season this was, because I did South Africa reports quite a few times. It was season 3 that we brought this man in. 46 overall, 69 to 93 potential. So he's in his potential bracket. I don't know how much more potential he has to give. But it's the way it goes sometimes. Lebohang Shabalala in Bastia now. But yes, I think it's just part of the I wanted Shabalala to succeed kind of thing, and we didn't really get one in the end. We had one, but I just couldn't get him to fucking work properly. And we'll talk about it in part 2 when we bring him up. Why has my phone opened YouTube? Who knows? Anyway, but Lebohang Shabalala, not to be for us. Up next on the list then, this is a fun one. Quite an interesting one really when you think about it. You might not remember him, and I wouldn't blame you for not remembering him because he was here quite literally for a day, maybe even less. And I've spelled his name wrong. Leo Schmidt. Now you might be wondering, who's Leo Schmidt? Fun story here. Let me get a bit of a story going here. So you know when we were trying to get Aidan Sutherland back from Royal Antwerp, we basically let's start from the top. They didn't want to sell Sutherland because they didn't have enough depth in that position. So what we did was we bought Leo Schmidt and swapped him with Ezra Jennings, who you saw earlier, who we talked about earlier. So that way, Antwerp had a left back. Then we went in for Sutherland and swapped Schmidt back. So in the same day, we bought and sold Leo Schmidt from and to Royal Antwerp. So he was here for barely a day. But I feel like I had to put him in because without him, we may not have got Aidan Sutherland back. And don't get me wrong, Schmidt's probably a half decent cab as well, but he was just a pawn in the jigsaw, well, the pawn in the chess game of getting Sutherland back, I suppose. 21 years of age, 72 overall, still probably has a bit to grow. We signed him at 70, and that was just in season 8, so he has grown twice since the start of season 8. Not too shabby Alonso there, I suppose, but still, it's fuck's sake, stop why do you message me when I'm doing something? Huh? But at the end of the day, he was just used for getting Mr. Sutherland back. So we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more players for today. I won't do them all in one part because it will hurt your head listening to me for this long, and it's hurting my head speaking for this long, so I can kind of understand. A newer one up next, Leonardo de Oliveira. I don't actually know who his regen or who he's the regen of, and I want to say it's Thiago Silva. So we're actually going to do a little bit of investigating here before we go and talk about Leonardo de Oliveira. So I just go into a quick edit players, and then we go down to, where is he? Where are you? Probably near the bottom now, Malik. Yeah, de Oliveira. So 30th of, oh no, wait, that's his kit number 30. So 22nd of September. So if I go on to Wikipedia, Thiago Silva. I can't remember if he is a Thiago Silva regen. That's one double checking. 22nd September. So he is the Thiago Silva regen. While I'm here, actually. Just double checking something because I was always curious. I don't actually think I ever looked. Been saying this whole time that Dickinson is the Kyle Walker regen. He's not. But he might be the Kieran Trippier regen, which he is. Which means the Kyle Walker regen is out there somewhere. But we've learned something new today. George Dickinson's actually the Kieran Trippier regen. Ironic as well, because we bought George Dickinson from Newcastle. But anyway, Leonardo de Oliveira, just brought him in season... was it season 9 we brought him in? Just this season. I thought we brought him in season 8, but just this season we brought in Leonardo de Oliveira. Champions League experience, poached him from Spurs. He liked how... I think he liked the way we came up. It took quite a lot of money to bring him across, but he liked the way we came up. And he wanted to be a part of that, which is fair play to Leonardo de Oliveira. You got to respect it. And maybe the starting centre back in the final. I'm torn between him and Martin at the moment, but 25 years of age, 88 rated, the complete centre back. If I'm being honest with you, green physicals, 6'1", 97 strength, 95 jumping, and actually decent technicals as well for a defender. So you can't complain. But yeah, a baller of a defender. 87 overall when we brought him in. He's now an 88, so he's only grown once. He's already hit his potential, of course, when we brought him in, but he's a high-rated player that we needed for the Champions League run, and it's worked out, so you can't complain. But yes, the Thiago Silva regen. And looking around, it was actually the Kieran Trippier regen that we signed, which makes me curious. Where on earth is the Kyle Walker regen? You got to be asking questions now. Where is he? In fact, I'm the manager of England. Can I just not look at the England team? It's not Ruben Adams because he was ours. Right, let's just speed this up a bit. Because I'm genuinely intrigued now. If we don't have the Kyle Walker regen, who does? Obviously not going to be Livramento, is it? Not Spence, not Dickinson, not Laird, not Ben White. Is there a Kyle Walker? Well, I mean, he's retired. I just don't know what his rating would be. Not Wan-Bissaka, obviously. Um, Not Kessler Hayden, not Norton Cuffy. We could be here all day, but I'm genuinely interested now. Ben Johnson, it won't be him. Will it be Jude Gregory, perhaps? I guess we won't know because we don't have the birthday, but I think Jude Gregory might be the one that could be the regen, to be honest with you. I think we actually did look at him. And Real Walters is real, so it's not gonna be him. I think it was. I think we actually looked at Jude Gregory, but I think I didn't sign him because he was old. Like he was like 24, 25, was he not? 22. 81 rated. Yeah, sounds about right. Left foot. I mean, do we want to check? There's no point actually. I mean, we don't care anyway. We've got the better out of the deal. But I'm just curious anyway. So after that tangent, we'll go back in. Up next, Lewis Harper, who I think will succeed down the line. Just won't succeed for us because again, it was part of that season 7 scouting everybody fiasco that I decided to do, probably for an objective. It wasn't actually season 7 we brought him in. When was it we brought him in? It was either season 7 or season 5. Season 5 is when it was. Lewis Harper, 49 overall when brought him in, 73 to 94 potential. He's popping off in the MLS, still showing great potential as well. 76 overall. That release clause actually looks quite cheap. Could be a good option for one team, but I don't know who will go for it. 85 acceleration, 88 sprint speed, 77 agility, 70 balance, decent physicals all over the place, 77 attack position. Technicals are alright as well. Finishing is 86. Nothing to sniff about, nothing to sneeze about. Not bad at all. But yes, he is in the LAFC and he is balling. You're still streaming. Yeah, I'm gonna cut it off though. I'll do a few more players. I'm gonna do how many more plays have we got to do? I think it's 4 more players I'm gonna do just now. And then I'm gonna do the rest of them either later tonight or tomorrow. Because I feel like sitting here for 4 or 5 hours explaining everybody might hurt everyone's heads. If I split it into 2, it's a little bit better. Anyway, Linus Isaacson up next on the list. For like an hour's walk, fair enough. It's a good day. Well, it was a good day. It's raining here now. It was a good day earlier. I probably should have gone for a walk then. 24 years of age, 69 overall, Linus Isaacson. At one point, I thought maybe he'll be a baller for us. But again, not everyone can make it, unfortunately. And he's at Benevento, which is decent anyway. And I'm trying to find where he is in this list. He was brought in season 3, so he's been a long term. 55 overall, 67 to 89 potential, so he's made it into his potential bracket. But it's not far in. Technicals are quite good, physicals are decent, but yeah, he was never going to make it for us. That's some amount of players. Yeah, overall, I think it's 140 players we've had throughout this whole rebuild. That's players who brought in from the youth academy, players who brought in from free agency. There's been a lot more than I ever needed, really. But we're going to finish. I think we'll do these next few players, 3 more, I think, and then we'll do the rest of them tomorrow. I think probably because it's hurting my head a little bit doing this. But anyway, up next, and this has got to be one of the most important players on the way up, on the journey up, and it's a player, a long-term player. Streets won't forget. Logan Duncan. What a goalkeeper he was, all the way up. I think he was a season 1. I think he was a very first season kind of boy. If I can find him here. Or maybe it was season 2. It was when we were looking for a goalkeeper. He came in at the start of season 2. And in fact, actually, he was on the free agents. He didn't come through the academy, which is mad to think. But Logan Duncan, 64 overall, a free agent at that time. For League 2, decent goalkeeper. And more often than not, he was really good, to be honest with you. So no complaints there. But at one point, I can't remember where we sold him exactly, but I want to say between Championship and Premier League, we didn't really need him anymore, and we needed to upgrade in the goalkeeper position, which means selling him on. But obviously, we'll always be grateful for what he did all the way up to Championship/Premier League. He was a baller of a goalkeeper, and he bailed us out on a lot of occasions. He made a lot of mistakes as well, but that's just goalkeepers in FIFA 23, to be honest. But Logan Duncan bailed us out. A baller of a goalkeeper. Definitely streets won't forget. And with the stats there, reactions maybe not fantastic. Strength is actually quite good, bully anyone off the ball. But goalkeeping stats looking all round quite good as well. He's at Mines now, and he's doing quite well, I think. So no complaints there. Second to last player then. Wait, oh yeah, his potential. Oh no, he wasn't an academy player. I was going to read his potential out, but he's not an academy player, so I can't do that because I didn't know it. So the second to last player for today is a player we still have. We've loaned out, and he could be the next George Higgins, as in he will be a brilliant goalkeeper down the line. It's Louis Myers. He is out on loan at Salernitana. Looks very good. Looks very angry, but looks very good. Had exciting prospect before we loaned him out, and the all-round goalkeeping ability is looking very good. The positioning still needs a lot of work. We'll figure that out when he comes back. But 81 goalkeeping, dive in, 90 kick in, 81 handling, and 83 reflexes, along with 75 reactions, makes a good goalkeeper. Just needs to work on where he is in the goal. Sometimes he stands at the corner flag when he's meant to be goalkeeping. That's how bad his positioning is. But all seriousness, a player that will be good for the future if we were to continue this. But we're not to be. Can I ask, do you support Hartlepool or another team? I support another team. The reason I did a Hartlepool save for this FIFA was because I had a vote, and I put 5 different teams in the vote, and Hartlepool got the most votes. I think the teams were Hartlepool, Rochdale, Crawley, Bradford, and Newport. One of those teams, whoever got the highest votes, was the team I was going to do. Hartlepool got the highest votes, and then, of course, as you can see, the rest is history. But I support, and I hate to admit this in front of people, but I support Manchester United, which hurts sometimes. The final man, though, to be involved in this first part is the man who deserves everything in this world, who needs no introduction, Luca Carpenter. A 180 completely on his career, I tell you that much. Didn't really grow too well at the start when we first had him, but then a couple of seasons in, I noticed he had potential to be special, and I thought, let's make the most of that. Let's loan him out, let's get him to grow a bit, and then when we can, we'll bring him back, and he'll be a good player. Now, what I didn't reckon on was he was going to be shit for a little bit, which he was. So we loaned him out again, brought him back. Last season he was a backup striker, didn't play too well when Rodriguez got injured, and that's why Carlson got a nod over him. But then I thought, we've stuck with him this long. Luca Carpenter's been here for so long. We'll stick with him one more season. Will he make or will he break? Well, let me tell you. I'm just going to show you in numbers whether he did good or whether he did bad. That's the only way I can really show you. If you think like my faith in Luca Carpenter is misjudged, just look at that. Last season he couldn't score for any love nor money. He couldn't put a chance away. This season, 37 goals in all competitions, 26 in the Premier League, 7 in the Champions League. And I've got to say, as much as I didn't want Rodriguez to be injured, of course I didn't. The Rodriguez injury has been a blessing for Carpenter because he has gone and balled out this season. Rodriguez will start the Champions League final because he was always meant to. But I think Carpenter's got to be the one that starts alongside him. I'm stuck between who to use between these two alongside him. But I'll make that decision next episode. But Luca Carpenter, an absolute baller. Nearly 60 goal contributions this year. Maybe have 60 after the Champions League final. But he's gone from, is he going to make it, to, yeah, he's going to make it. I didn't expect him to ever make it, if I'm being truthful. But he has done. Overall of 47 when he came into the academy. Potential of 67 to 93. And that means it was a massive growth of 43 overall to get Luca Carpenter to this point. And look at these stats as well. 99 sprint speed, 90 acceleration, 82 agility, 73 balance. Green physicals everywhere. 80 jumping, 90 stamina, 81 strength, and 76 reactions. 5'9" as well. So he's not exactly the tallest. 97 ball control, 85 dribbling, 95 finishing. He's definitely turned it around. 99 shot power. Yeah, I mean, if there was a man who ever deserved to make a case for a Champions League final, if there was a man who deserved a turnaround, it was Luca Carpenter. And, yeah, a fantastic player. A fantastic player all around. Another thing I meant to check as well, I don't think I ever checked Carlos Rodriguez's potential. But Carlos Rodriguez, 51 overall when we brought him in, 68 to 92 potential. He was at 91 when I wrote this down. He's not at 90, of course, because of injuries. But he would have got over 92. He would have absolutely exceeded his potential like Roberts did. So that's just the way it is. Some absolute ballers out there, and we've made a fucking dynasty, and that's only part one. That's only part one. We've got a lot more work to do in the Where Are They Now. We're gonna do part two. So that's gonna be an interesting one. Whether I do it later or whether I do it tomorrow. I think I've done more than or about half now. Just over half it looks like. So the other half will come either today or tomorrow. And we will finish off the rest of this Where Are They Now. But for today, I'm going to leave it there so I don't give everyone a headache. I don't give myself a headache. Will I watch any FA Cup later, or do you not watch much football? I'll watch anything I can. I don't know, I'll maybe watch highlights, but the only ones I really watch are Manchester United matches, which is why I hate football so much. But no, in all seriousness, I'll maybe take a look at some, but if Man United play tomorrow, so probably not. I'll probably watch tomorrow instead. But yeah, you can understand why I don't watch much football. When Manchester United are my team, it's a painful experience. Um, but nah, I'm gonna leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed Quagliarella. I hope you've enjoyed the history, even if you haven't watched much of the series. But we've got a lot of the football is shown today, and for long-term viewers, of course, I hope you have enjoyed this. And I will see you either today, later, or tomorrow for part two of the Where Are They Now. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll catch you. Peace.